Raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and say hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well,
I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the-right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Davante Adams says the Jets are going to run the table. Micah Parsons calls the Giants stupid for letting Saquon Barkley go. I'm not surprised. An NFL trade deadline recap and much, much more, including Jason Kelce with some interesting investigations of his own. And much, much more in a new show of the Sports Loudmouth. Doc Rivers is going to have Damian Lillard run very fast out of town. Does he help them win? You're under 500. Aaron Judge helps the Yankees win. You're paying the player $300 million. You better be sure that guy's going to help you get over the hump. For some reason, this guy is completely Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Mr. Jabba Chamberlain, and Speedster, Speedy Petey, our executive producer, as always, Mr. Aaron Fishman, and our Sports Minute, Tommy Scoops. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Loudmouth with me, Speedy Petey, and Mr. Jabba Chamberlain every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website. It's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final show as we are rebranding our show. It's no longer going to be called the Sports Loudmouth. As of next week, it will be called Jabba and the Mouth, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the final show moving forward of the Sports Loudmouth. So we're very, very happy about that. Jabba Chamberlain, obviously, is now a cool and straightforward personality and partner to the show. So Jabba, what is up? How is everything going?
Another day in paradise. It was a little chilly this morning. Other than that, really about nothing. Another little hump day Wednesday. You know, Speedy, you know how hump day goes. So,
Yes,
just
I have lived on a bunch of Wednesdays. Do the Humpty Hump. Do the Humpty Hump, right, Speedy? Do the Humpty. You know how to do the hump, right?
No, I'm not an egg that's going to fall off a wall.
No, that's Humpty Dumpty.
Right. You don't know
I'm sure that's what the dance was named after, Jabba. You're a grown man.
Oh, man. No, well, there's Speedy. How are you, Speedy?
I want to give 2 birthday shout outs. First, happy birthday. They were both yesterday. Happy birthday to my father. Who turned 59 yesterday. Happy birthday to him. And also my brother Dylan. My brother Dylan, his girlfriend, Maddie, also coincidentally has the same birthday as my father. Happy birthday to her as well. So,
happy birthday to you both.
Yes.
Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I want to give a congratulations to our 47th new presidents. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump. Let's do the pitter patter for Mr. Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, our new president. That's good news, I would think. What do you think, Speedy?
Well, I don't care about commenting on that matter. I also want to mention Scoops in our private chat. Happy birthday to his grandfather as well. November 5th birthday as well.
The Scoopster, his grandfather. I just want to tell everybody a quick story. I woke up this morning. I stayed up. By the way, shout out to Kevin. What's happening? Kevin, one of our big fans now, loves our show. We love him. And thank you, Kevin, for giving us a little introduction that you are on the feed. But I just want to give a little story for everybody. I watched all the way to the end of, obviously, the election. Donald Trump wins at that point, 277 to 226. I watched the whole thing when it all broke. When he won Wisconsin and he obviously was elected the president-elect, and I saw his speech, and my phone updated last night. It just, you know how it just update? You pick a time where you're sleeping most likely, and you don't have to deal with the update. So it updated. I saw it go up, and I saw it go down, and it was, it took like 2 hours to update, whatever it was doing. Okay, so I wake up in the morning. I'm leaving for work. And I walk out. I go to my car and I realize I put the password in, it wouldn't go through. I did it 3 or 4 times. And then I said, I'm going to shut it off. Maybe it's not recognizing my password. I don't know. So I drive to work, I get out of the car and I keep doing it. All of a sudden, it tells me that I have 8 more times to put my password in. And if I don't, I'm going to lose everything in my phone. It's going to reset itself. And I'm going to lose everything. So I am bugging out. I am absolutely bugging out. I'm putting the right password in. It's been 15 years with the same goddamn password. Okay, I go inside. I'm losing myself. Guys, when you have your phone is your life. I mean, seriously, everything that you possibly have is on your phone. All your phone numbers. I got 5,000 phone numbers. Everything. And it was almost gone. So I call up Verizon. I want to give a shout out to the idiots at Verizon. I call them up and I go to the technical end of it. I talk to their number one technical person that was on in the morning. She had no idea what was going on. She says, I've never heard this before. How does somebody get into your phone? Hey, I don't know. Somebody can hack into a computer. How could they not hack into a phone? Okay. I'm listening to her. I'm like, how dopey can you be? Are you that stupid? So I'm practically telling her this, Jabba, on the phone. You're an idiot. I put somebody else. Give me a supervisor, God damn it. So it took her an hour. I'm serious. I was driving to Riverhead and it takes me about 35 minutes to get to Riverhead where I'm at. I'm waiting on the phone. And finally, the supervisor's like, sir, we can't do anything for you. I said, wait a second. I have a phone with you. I have a business line with my network connected to, I have 3 phone lines. And you're going to tell me right now somebody can hack into my phone and I can't get anything back? And she says, well, we only work with the service. We don't work with the phone. So honestly, there's nothing we can do. Now, we can give you Samsung's number and you can call Samsung. Maybe they can help you. So 2.5 hours waiting on the phone. This is the answer I get from these idiots. I call up Samsung and then I have like message machine after message machine after message machine. And I finally get somebody that actually is living on the phone. Okay. And it was some old guy. It sounded like it was my grandfather on the phone. I'm like, dude, what are you doing right now? You're playing with yourself or something? I don't know what he was doing. And he gets on the phone and he says, listen, Mr. Marks, I'm going to help you out now. You got to put this code in. We put this code in. We're going to get inside the phone and we're going to reset the phone system. So I put this in. I never knew you can do this, whatever. So he does it. And somehow he got into the phone. I don't know how. And then he told me, he said, did you download a new app? Have you ever in the past week downloaded a new app? I said, I download apps all the time, including porno apps. Speedy, you like that, right? You don't like porno apps? Pornhub, any of them? What, you don't like it?
No.
You porn?
No.
That's good. That's a good one, by the way.
X-Hamster?
Hey, that's a good one, too. I mean, you like hamster, Speedy? Okay, I'm just asking. They roll in the little wheels, right?
I know what hamsters are.
Anyways, so I finally get on my phone. I erased all my apps. I want to tell everybody. I was having a nervous breakdown. I was sweating. My heart felt like it was going to pop out of my body because everything is on this goddamn phone. And I'll tell you this right now. Don't trust anybody. Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, or anybody. They don't know crap. They're a multi-billion-dollar, million-dollar industry, and they don't know how to do crap. So that was my tale of the tape. Speedy, you like that tale? I was really upset all morning. I was sweating. I've never felt like that. I've dealt with anxiety. I've never felt in that particular moment how I felt if I was going to have to reset my phone. And by the way, that's all they told me they can do is reset my phone. That's it.
Did you lose anything?
No, I was lucky. I don't know. I was talking to this old guy. Guys, he sounded like a 73-year-old man eating like Pringles at his phone. He picked up the phone and it was like, Mr. Marks, I'm going to help you out here. That's exactly what he said to me. I'm like, sir, if you can help me out, I'll throw you a dub. Maybe I'll throw you, Speedy's, used underwear and he'll sign it personally for you. I mean, Speedy, could you do that for him? Why? He's a fan of yours, by the way.
I don't care.
All right, there he goes. Yeah, so it was a bad situation, and obviously I got my phone back. So I thank the old guy, by the way, the Samsung. I didn't get his name. I think his name was John. I'm going to call him John Samsung. Okay, so pitter patter, that's John Samsung, ladies and gentlemen, for helping us out. Well, helping me out this morning. Almost got me sick to my stomach. Anyways, so that was my morning. It ruined my whole morning. And then everything else. Just when it rains, it pours. Okay, it didn't actually pour, but when it rains, it pours. And there's just other things that happen to me today. But we have a show. I don't want to go into it. We have no guest on tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We were supposed to have Jerry Ferreira on. If you don't know him, Turtle from Entourage. We're going to work on getting him next week. We're really trying to cut it down to one guest a show. And the reason why is there's a lot of content. We want to entertain people. And I'm not saying the gracious, great guests that we have on aren't entertaining people. They do. But, we have Job on, and that's just enough. I mean, personality for nothing. He's as good as a personality you can have on a radio show. So Jabba Chamberlain, as you know, moving forward, he's a partner in the show, and we're very happy. So he's our guest tonight. Speedy, are you happy about that?
Of course.
Are you going to jump? Can we hop?
I gotta jump. Can we jump? Can we jump? Room is pretty hard to jump in.
You think so? I think you could jump. Let's try to jump. Yeah, get up.
It's not worth it.
I want you to jump. Come on, get up. Get up.
Fine.
Don't get hurt.
Over there. There we go. Hop, hop. Here we go. There we go. Hop, hop. There he is. Hop like a bunny rabbit. Hop it.
One more.
All right, one more. There you go.
All you're getting.
The bunny himself, Speedy Petey. Wow, what a show. Davante Adams said on K Adams' show that he believes this year's Jets team can run the table like 2016's Packers. Aaron Rodgers said, run the table when the Packers were 4-6 and ended up winning 8 straight games before losing to the NFC Championship game versus the Falcons. Adams said Rodgers won't create another slogan in front of the New York media, but the Jets still believe they can make it to the playoffs. Reports say that they are them beating the Texans changed the trade deadline plans for the Jets, who only traded Mike Williams to the Steelers. Garrett Wilson was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week because of that unbelievable catch, okay? And by the way, yours truly probably put him down from, and maybe I give him a hype. I don't know. With Week 9's catches for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Jets are 2 games back from the Broncos for the final AFC playoff spot. With the Colts, the Bengals also still ahead of the Jets by 1 game. Well, I love it. I love it for Davante Adams, and I love it for Aaron Rodgers. But guess what? This isn't the 2016 Packers. I don't care how talented this team is. By the way, I remember the 2016 Packers. And to me, even though it's not Mike, it was Matt running the team. Okay, if you guys remember, right, Speedy?
No, it was Mike.
It was, I know, but I'm just saying. I think when you look at the picture right now for the New York Jets, I think in the position that they are in, there is no way up, just all the way down. And I know everybody's sitting here, oh, Garrett, here we go. Mr. Hater himself. I'm a Jet fan. I sit here every single show, and I'm only being honest about where this team is going. I do not see and believe that this team with Old Brick as the head coach and this coaching staff is going to squeak into the playoffs when you have the Colts, the Bengals, and quite a few other teams. Now, I don't think the Broncos are a good team. I don't, even though they beat the Jets 10-9. I'm sorry. It was horrible. And Greg the Leg is still part of this team. I don't know what the Jets are thinking right now, but Greg Zuerlein is still a part of this roster. I have no idea what they're thinking right now. But guess what? That's the coaching staff. That's the way the coaches believe that this team and this organization is going to play, and they're going to play it with Greg the Leg. I don't know what Davante Adams is anymore. As a matter of fact, if you look at Davante Adams' numbers since he's come to the Jets and he's played in 3 games, he doesn't even have 100 yards. Just think about that. Davante Adams has played in 3 Jet games, and he hasn't even broken 100 yards. What does that tell you guys? It tells you that Davante Adams is slow. He's not the same player he once was. Okay? He's just not. And again, that doesn't mean Davante Adams isn't an elite player. I still think he could be a top 10 wide receiver. Going into the season, I thought he was a top 7, top 6. I did. But I don't know. Ever since he's come to this Jet team, you would think that him and Aaron Rodgers would have chemistry. They don't have any chemistry as much as we thought they were going to. And I've said it. Davante Adams is playing against the best corner on each team. Every single game he's played against the best corner. That gives an opportunity for Garrett Wilson to open up the field and make plays in the open field, as we've seen in the last 3 weeks. If you look at Garrett Wilson's numbers in the last 3 weeks, these are the best 3 weeks we've seen Garrett Wilson have with Aaron Rodgers since Aaron Rodgers has come to the team. That's not saying much because Garrett Wilson has never really played with Aaron Rodgers until this year. But nevertheless, you look at this team right now, and Aaron Rodgers could say whatever he wants to say on the Pat McAfee show. So could Davante Adams and K Adams show. And by the way, Davante Adams is signing autographs in New Jersey this coming weekend. So congratulations to all the Davante Adams lovers. I am not going to check out Davante Adams because I don't want to put any jinx on him. But what I do believe right now with this New York Jet team is I think the schedule works in their favor. There's no question that it does. They play Miami twice. Miami's not a good team. They're not a good roster. Their defense is really obsolete from what they were last year. They lost a lot of players in the offseason. Tua Tagovailoa is protecting himself, and the offensive line is a shell of what it was last year. But if you look at the way this schedule is set up, it favors the New York Jets to win every single game. There's no way in hell this team is winning every single game. The fact that they beat the Texans last week was the only reason why, because they lost Stephon Diggs the week before. They lost Nico Collins the week before that. Both players, their two top wide receivers are out. And that's why they won that game. Yes, Garrett Wilson made some unbelievable grabs. He looked fantastic. The offense at some points of the game looked fantastic. And in some points of the game looked horrible. They cannot be consistent. This running game is never consistent. You'll have a game that Breece Hall breaks away for 60 yards or 40 yards, and then all of a sudden, he can't even run a 10-yard route. I mean, seriously, Garrett Wilson, he's looked good. But now teams are realizing that Garrett Wilson is the number one guy. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to put the best corner on Garrett Wilson, and they're going to make Davante Adams beat them. Now, Davante Adams is not the 28, 27-year-old wide receiver that we saw with the Green Bay Packers at the top of his game. Davante Adams is 31, going to be 32 years old. He's at the tail end of his career. That doesn't mean that he can't make plays. That doesn't mean he can't be a great number two. But for anybody to sit here, any Jet fan to sit here, and I don't trust the Broncos. As a matter of fact, it's not the Broncos that scare me. The Colts scare me because of Joe Flacco. The Bengals scare me because of Joe Burrow. Aaron Rodgers doesn't scare me right now. And anybody that believes that he does is blind. Now, I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers can't make every single throw. I do believe he can make every single throw. And everybody keeps saying he's the cancer in the locker room. I know everybody's saying it. Mike Greenberg's saying it. Stephen A. Smith has said it. Everybody is saying it. I do not believe the only reason why the Jets have played the way they've played this year is because of Aaron Rodgers. He has a say in it, but it's not just him. Bringing back Bambi was a big problem. Letting Ulbrich take over for this team, you should have had something set up. The Jets should have had some kind of game plan if Bambi was going to get fired early in the season, which I predicted before the season started. I said in 5 games, they're going to fire Bambi. I said it. Listen to the show. Go back. I said it. Saleh was not the guy. He was worse than Adam Gase. I would have rather Adam Gase than Robert Bambi Saleh. But the fact is right now, this organization is going to ride and die with Jeff Ulbrich. And they're going to die because I don't think Ulbrich knows what he's doing. He can stick his pen under the hat. He can stick his finger up his ass. He's kissing Aaron Rodgers' ass just as much as Woody is playing with Aaron Rodgers' Woody. There's a fact right now of where this team is going. It is Aaron Rodgers' team. There's no question that it is. But it's not because of Aaron Rodgers. It's players not making plays. It's the defense in certain parts of the game. They can't stop teams on third downs. You see it 3rd and 11. How do you give a team 15 yards? When it's 3rd and 8, how do you give a team 10 yards? You're supposed to be a dominant defense. You're supposed to be one of the elite defenses in the NFL. How do you go out there and look so bad in the red zone? You were the number 1 red zone team in the NFL last year. That's why you were so good. Do you know where the Jets are ranked right now? It's horrible. And you can't sit here. I don't want to hear it from Davante Adams. Davante, you've been here for 3 games. 3 games. We're listening to you. Aaron Rodgers, you've played how many games as a New York Jet? What is it? 9? You've played 9 games. Actually, 8.5.
9 plus 4 plays.
Right now, if you're going to sit here and tell me that my team is going to be spoken about by 2 players that have been here for not even a half a season yet, because both of these guys together have not been here for a half a season, I'm not going to take their word for it. I do know this. Quincy Williams has not been the player that he was last year. Quincy Williams was an all-pro player. Quentin Williams, who I thought was going to be explosive this year, adding some of the pieces that they added to that defensive line. He has not been the player that we thought he was going to be. Remember, 2 years ago, he got that big contract, and Jet fans were so excited, so happy. Quentin Williams is not producing for what the Jets are paying him. This guy is one of the biggest and most expensive defensive linemen in all of football. Look at Dexter Lawrence. Look what he's doing. Dexter Lawrence is by far the best defensive lineman in the league right now, and he's getting paid for it. Quentin Williams, ever since he's gotten the money, he's not been that player. It reminds me of Muhammad Wilkerson. Now, Muhammad got hurt with his injuries, but that's what he is. He is a lonesome dove right now for the New York Jets. And I understand why everybody's sitting here and trying to figure out if they were going to move Hassan Reddick. They were never moving Hassan Reddick because the Jets, still in their little pea brain, believe that they're going to make this run, that they're going to win 8 games in a row and squeak into the playoffs. I just don't see it, guys. I don't. I want to believe it. I want to be behind them. I'm a Jet fan, but I'm just not going to believe this. And again, right here, if Greg Zuerlein is still a part of this team right now, and you trust that this guy is going to be your kicker moving forward, it just shows you the incompetence of this organization in this team.
Yeah, I'm going to compare the two scenarios of the 2016 Packers and this Jets team, because the Jets definitely have more talent than that Packers team did at the time. The Packers were very top heavy at the time. And I think the expectations were kind of similar. Where you look at, okay, Jordy Nelson was coming back from his torn ACL that year in 2016. The Packers are going to redeem themselves. And Aaron Rodgers, obviously this year, coming back from the torn Achilles. And I think Davante Adams might be onto something with that kind of thing. And like you said, the Broncos are not scary. The Chargers, who are in a playoff spot, are they really that scary? I don't know. And the Colts, maybe the Joe Flacco thing works, but he didn't play well that first game against the Vikings either. So maybe that kind of thing Davante Adams is onto something with, because that year in the NFC, like, the Packers didn't have as much pressure. The Lions had the Vikings had that 5-0 start we talked about a few weeks ago on with Pete Bursick when we had him on, and they collapsed. The Lions fell apart. They were like 7-4 or something. They fell apart. The pressure was not on the Packers. The pressure was still on that New York Jets team this coming season. And that's where I think the situations are still very different. And you're trusting a younger team, a very younger team, to have that kind of mindset to turn it around when you haven't made the playoffs in 13 years. And that's where I think Davante Adams' argument could be flawed. Their schedule is easy. You're right about that. Now, Arizona, they play this week, is kind of a difficult matchup for them because they struggle against tight ends and running quarterbacks, which the Cardinals have both of those. So if they win that game, maybe they can find something, but they still have to play the Bills in Buffalo, which is going to be very hard. They still have to play some of those AFC South teams that could be difficult. Besides Jacksonville and, like you said, Miami, like, there's no obvious cakewalks on either one of those schedules. So I think from that standpoint, Davante Adams could have something to prove. And you're right, he's not the same player. He had the one big game so far, but he hasn't really played well. So he has to prove it more than just this one game in order to do it.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point too, like in the aspect of what Davante said, and you look at the teams based upon what it is, but then also you look at it from the point of view, it's just not one person that's making this team have the record that they have. It takes everybody. And I think when you look at it from, and there may be some validity because we're not in the clubhouse. We don't see what they see, and maybe there's adjustments that they're making. And Davante's obviously done it. So I think there's some solace to what he's saying. Do I see it happening? I think there's going to be some tough matchups. I mean, crazier things have been done, but I think when they just put it on one person saying, Rodgers, can he make the throw? Can he do this? I still think he can, and he's proven it. I mean, not consistently, but there have been times where he's been able to do it. So I think there's something to be said about what he said, because obviously he's gone through it, and maybe he sees something that is very comparable to what they went through in 16. So I think, there may be something to it. You know what? Make us eat his words. I mean, I know Errol will like it. So, I mean, if it does happen, but I don't foresee it happen. If they get to the Bills in Buffalo, I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, their schedule is not the hardest, but there's going to be some battles. So it'll be interesting. And, like I said, there may be something to it just because he's been through it. I don't know if it'll come to fruition, but hey, if he's got confidence, that shows that he believes in the team. And I mean, yeah, the guys talking. I mean, Aaron has to talk. He's the leader of the team. And then you got Davante coming in. And, this is kind of one of those things we talked about on the show before where Errol gets all pissed at Jazz because he hasn't been on the team and he's the one speaking. So, it's just to your point too. It's like, let Aaron speak because we know it's his team. And granted, 4 plays goes down, blows his Achilles. And, now in the season that he's played now, but he is that guy. So I think, there's some dynamics to it, but you know what, you can do this all you want, but then go out and prove it and see. And, he had 7 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown last week. So maybe
he hasn't broken 100 yards in a game.
No. But maybe he's getting more confidence. But going into it, it's like, yeah, he goes on the McAfee show and he's behind Aaron's shoulder. Like, you thought the rapport would have been there already. I mean, obviously you got to knock the cobwebs off. But you'd have thought it'd have been there a little bit quicker. So we'll see. Maybe it is. And maybe that's why he said what he said, just because now they're, having that intuition that they had. And, it'll be interesting to tell. And you know what? Take it one pass at a time, one game at a time. And, hopefully he can say, I told you so. And we got something to not talk you off the ledge about. Yeah. Not to talk you off the ledge.
I'm jumping off the ledge every time Aaron Rodgers comes out and speaks. Okay. And Davante Adams, they should be butt buddies. There should be pictures of both of them. One, Aaron Rodgers standing right behind Davante Adams. Davante Adams is bending over on a bed. Okay. Because that's what it is. That's what the Jets are. It's the old Green Bay Packers. That's what it is. This isn't. Now, again, the Jets have some good young and talented players. This is a great defensive team on paper. If you look at it, they really are. McDonald has been as good as any pass rusher in the league, which I predicted he was going to be. Everybody, every Jet fan out there did not like McDonald being drafted at number 15. I loved it because he was quick up behind, around the bend. Everybody said he's fast. He needs to put on some weight. He didn't put on enough weight this year, but as soon as a couple of big names fell down and hurt themselves this year and were out for a significant part of the season, I'm flabbergasted, by the way. I've had a long day. But right now, if you look at the Jets and the position that they're in, they need these guys to show up in the big parts of the game, especially in the fourth quarter, where this team is just lackluster. I don't know what they are because they haven't played 4 quarters all season long. Could you name a game where the Jets showed up in the first, second, third, and fourth quarter? There hasn't been one. It hasn't been one. Not even when they beat New England. What was it, 23-3?
Yeah, they were bad in the second half of that game.
They were horrible. They were terrible. It's just New England's that bad. The fact that New England beat them in the second game makes them look even more terrible. You can't sit here right now and believe that this team is going to find their way out of the hole. Speedy doesn't even know where the hole is.
Nope. And the Jets are going to have to dig a lot further to be able to make that work. And it's just hard to do with that kind of coaching. And when you haven't had good coaching all year, those kinds of adjustments aren't made. And yes, the 2016 Packers at the time, as critical as Mike McCarthy might have been maybe towards the end of his Packers tenure, he's still a very good coach compared to Jeff Ulbrich. And Jabba, you mentioned it too. Guys are their offensive coordinators, the great Nathaniel Hack Job, as I like to call it. And Errol calls him, I can't hack it. And you really expect them to be able to get Davante Adams, even as experienced as he was in Green Bay with Hackett, like that kind of workload to make it work for the Jets offense? I don't know about that, because even Errol was saying it 2 weeks ago when Garrett Wilson had that first breakout game. Like, they gave him 15 targets and Davante Adams barely got any, and the Steelers really adjusted to that kind of thing. Good coaching staffs will adjust to that kind of thing.
Nathaniel Hack Hog. I like that one. That's even better. You like hogging the hack, right?
No.
You don't like hacking the hog?
I'm not hogging anything that's being hacked.
Not even a hog?
I like hogs.
No.
You don't like pork?
I do like pork, but I'm not going to hold on to a live pig.
Why not?
Because I'm not part of a farm culture.
We got to send you to Nebraska. You can hang out on the farm with Jobs.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on hanging out on a farm. Yeah, I will end up going to Nebraska. I have to go to Wichita with Wes eventually. So it'll be right on the next stop.
Silk the shocker. Give him the silk the shocker.
Wes is on later. I will give it to him.
Would you give a cow the silk the shocker?
No.
Why not?
I'm only giving the shocker to Wes.
Well, you have to give it to the cow.
No.
Why not?
I'm not getting involved with any farm culture. I already told you.
Would you milk a cow?
No.
You just got to pull on the teats.
I know the concept
squeeze.
of it. I have no interest.
Have you ever grabbed your nipples? Have you ever grabbed your nipples?
What does that have to do with anything?
But have you ever grabbed your nipples?
Yeah, but what does that have to do with anything?
Well, what were you grabbing your nipples for?
It was itchy.
Would you grab Nathaniel Hackett's nipples?
No.
Why not?
I have zero interest in grabbing the nipples of a grown man.
Well, he's not a grown man. He might be a kid, inside of a grown man's.
Whatever. I don't care about the psychological end of it.
I will say this: if you're sitting here wanting to believe that this is going to happen, good for you guys. I hope for the Jets' sake and the Jet fan. I am a Jet fan. I'm not gonna buy it. But again, I didn't buy that right now going into week 9 that the Kansas City Chiefs would be 8-0. I never thought that. I would have never thought that. But guess what? Kansas City makes the right plays at the end of the game. They let Tampa come back. They go to overtime, and what did they do? They won. Could the Jets actually play 4 quarters where you could believe that this team is capable of doing what Kansas City has done this year? I don't believe it. I can't buy it. And by the way, Kansas City offensively is still raw. There's nothing that sells to me that in one game, in a playoff game against whoever they're playing or matched up against, that they could win in a playoff game. I don't know if they can. Right now, they're 8-0. Their schedule worked very well for them, and there's no dominant force right now in the NFL. Even Kansas City's not dominant. Even though they're the only undefeated team, there is no dominance in the NFL. But again, you can't even put the word semi-dominant with the New York Jets. I would put them as a low-class organization trying to find their way out of the hole. So to me right now, there's nothing that Davante Adams could say, Aaron Rodgers could say, or anybody can say right now to make me actually believe that this team is going to find their way out of it. I can't. Garrett Wilson made unbelievable catches. Hey, he made himself a lot of money because at the end of the season, there's going to be a lot of endorsements from that one catch. They're going to use that catch. It'll be probably up for SB of the year right now for greatest play of the year. No question that it probably will. And Odell Beckham, when he made that catch, he won that year the SB for greatest catch of the year. So maybe Garrett Wilson, I was at the bar the other day. I was hanging out when he's eating, and he said, he hates the Jets, by the way. Shout out to Mike from Miller's, the bartender. He told me, he told me straight out, I said, that was one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. And he says, that was unbelievable. I was shocked that he caught that ball. Nevertheless, to me, that is making him a lot of money. Is that making the Jets any more than a playoff team because he made that unbelievable grab? Not a chance. Not a chance.
It was almost out of bounds, too. They called it out of bounds originally.
Well, because the way they looked at it is his calf hit the ground before he fell out of bounds.
It could have very easily stood, though.
And in football, I don't know if anybody knew this. I didn't know this until the game, that your calf is part of your knee. So that's the way they look at it. So,
they said his toe hit, then his shin hit before.
Right.
And they're like, well, no, because it happened. I don't know if it happened earlier in the week. And actually, Owen and I were watching it. We thought that if the one leg got down twice, then it did, but it has to be like another part. Like they explained it, and I was like, well, I guess I learned something because I thought if it got down, it just had to get down twice. But no, it had to be another part. So
2 separate body parts
can
be on the same leg. The other thing too that was tricky was his other knee hit out of bounds, kind of at the same time his shin hit in, but his shin just hit in first, where they were able to overturn it.
It was hard to believe he made that catch, but Mike Williams going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's a good move for Pittsburgh. They needed a number 2 guy. Maybe even Mike Williams could be a number 1 guy. I really do believe. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers did not want Mike Williams there. I don't know if anybody actually knew that, but Mike Williams barely was on the field when he was there. And the reason why is him and Aaron Rodgers just didn't have it. They just didn't have that chemistry. And there was a story coming out from the organization that Aaron Rodgers would have rathered Corley or any of those other guys on the field than Mike Williams. And Mike Williams was a Pro Bowl player in his career. So it's crazy to think. And Mike Williams, hey, if the Jets play the Steelers, if the Jets squeak into the playoffs and they're matched up against the Steelers, I would love to see Mike Williams go off on the New York Jets because Mike Williams deserved the opportunity to play for this team and have an opportunity to catch the ball. The Jets just didn't believe in him, and he believed in the Jets when he decided to sign that contract, that $11 million this past year before the season started. So I think he made a big mistake, but hey, he's in a better position and he's in a better situation with Mike Tomlin, even though Russell Wilson's the quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers will have to make sure that Malachi Corley doesn't go full Deshaun Jackson again.
Micah Parsons said on his show that it was stupid or stupidity for the Giants to let Saquon Barkley go to the Eagles. He called it a blessing in disguise for Saquon to sign with the Eagles because the Giants never appreciated him. He added that the rest of the league is paying for it now because the Giants' stupidity put him on an already loaded Eagles offense. He added that people should stop saying this season has been vintage Saquon Barkley because he's always been this good since he was playing for Penn State. Parsons has taken shots at several Eagle players the last 2 seasons, including Jalen Hurts, when he was up for an MVP and he was runner-up in 2022. Saquon Barkley has 1,071 scrimmage yards and 8 touchdowns this season and has won NFC Offensive Player of the Week 3 times. Saquon has 925 rushing yards this season and only 107 yards less than the Giants team total and more than the Cowboys team total this season. Saquon Barkley right now has an opportunity to be Offensive Player of the Year. And you can argue Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley could be in that position. Now, Derrick Henry is having a better season, but again, Saquon Barkley still has a lot of football left. And I could see Saquon Barkley this season having 250 yards in a game. He's that good. I don't know if anybody watched last week in that leap of faith that he made. That was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like this. Just watch this. Watch this wonderful move. Bam. I mean.
And it was after a spin move. It was after a spin move.
He was unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Just watch. Spin. Whoop. Right there. Goodbye. I mean, seriously, he is unbelievable. And he's only going to get better because he's going to see the offense open up even more when A.J. Brown is 100% healthy. A.J. Brown has not been 100% healthy all season long. Davante Smith is finally becoming 95 to 100% healthy. And you see how good he is. This team is as explosive as any team in the NFL. Goddard is one of the best tight ends in all of football. You could see it when Goddard is 100% and what this team could do. They can absolutely dominate on the offensive side of the ball. The problem right now with the Eagles is their defense. Their defense is up and down, up and down. You got Jalen Carter opening his big fat mouth. And then you have other guys, these Georgia Bulldogs, as we call them, the Bulldog Eagles. So, or Gold Eagles, or whatever the hell they want to call them.
I call them the Eagle Dogs.
Eagle Dogs. Right now, Saquon Barkley is the reason why the Eagles are where they are. He has been everything to this team. And even losing Jason Kelce this offseason, which everybody thought was going to affect him, which it has. If you look at the offensive line, this is not as good of an offensive line as it has been over the years. That tush push, we haven't seen a lot of that this year.
Jaguars stopped it twice.
We haven't seen it a lot, and it has a lot to do with Jason Kelce. But what Saquon Barkley hides to deficiencies of the offensive line is his speed on the outside. And what does it do? It opens up the inner part of the field for those wide receivers, the Davante Smiths, where you can move them in the slot and really dominate inside the game. So I think that this is only going to get better. This team, when they're 100%, it's going to open up so many avenues. And again, the Eagles are expected to be one of the best teams in the NFC. And the NFC is up and down. We don't know who the best team is. A couple of weeks ago, we thought it was Minnesota. Now everybody's saying it's the Lions. If the Lions lose two games in a row and Jared Goff looks like the shell of what he has been over the last couple of weeks, and right now he's the hottest quarterback in football, if he's a shell of what he is in the next 2 weeks, then we could be talking about the Eagles if they win 2 games in a row. Because the Eagles right now are what, 6-2? I think that's what their record is.
5-2. I think they have their.
No, I think they're 6-2. I'm
6-2. You're right. We can.
They're 6-2 right now. If they win 2 games in a row, they're going to be 8-2. So I do still believe that this team could be the team that's going to come out of the NFC. Now, I don't trust their coaching staff. I don't. We all know about their coach and what he does on the sidelines, especially when he wants to mock other teams. A lot of different teams do not like him. We've heard Dable has taken shots at him over the last 2 seasons on what he does on the sidelines. He doesn't like it. We've heard Mike McCarthy, who never talks about any coaches. Mike McCarthy has come out and said some nasty things about him and what him and his players do on the sidelines like a bunch of little children. This has been going on. So, and what you do on a sideline is what draws your players, your young players, to follow the stupidity that you do on the sideline. So my opinion right now is Micah Parsons is 100% right. 100% right. Because the Giants made a big mistake. They did. And I'll say it again. I've been saying this over and over and over again. I said it on Hard Knocks. I said it before the season started. I said when he plays the Giants, I wouldn't be surprised if he has 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. What did he have in his first game against the Giants? 176 yards and 1 touchdown. And I'm going to tell you this right now. He has to play the Giants one more time. So I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks 250 yards against the Giants. The Giants right now are not a good team. And the organization is in a state of flux because right now, they don't know if Joe Shane's going to be there next year. They don't know if Brian Dable's going to be here next year. And guess what? You have players now in the locker room talking about other players. And what is that usually? What usually happens when that happens, Jabba? You know all about this. When other players are talking about other players to the press in New York, it usually means these players do not believe in the team. These players do not believe in the coaching staff. And these players are cashed out. They're completely tapped out of this team this coming season. Oh, this season.
Yeah, I think when it starts getting to that point, it's like you used the reference already is, first of all, don't believe, but then second of all, it's like maybe they got a foot out of the door already because with the uncertainty comes hesitation. With hesitation comes lack of production. And I think they're all intertwined in some way, shape, or form with how everything works together. So when it comes to it, I really think it is intertwined in the way it is. And with uncertainty in so many aspects, then it becomes selfish, and then you try to force things, and it is literally not a good culture, not a good feeling of uncertainty when you kind of got to start like you're feeling like yourself. I agree with you. He's got to play the Giants again. He is going to go over 200 for sure. And it's the fact that anybody can even say that they've seen improvement without Saquon Barkley is a joke. Like it's fun to watch him be healthy and be the Saquon he is. I mean, I remember going back to seeing the videos of him lifting at Penn State, and you're just like, how or what? I mean, his legs are gigantic.
Huge, by the way. I actually met Saquon Barkley and his father, who's a diehard Jet fan, by the way. Saquon grew up in the Bronx, and he was a diehard Jet fan. And his father, he has the same personality as his father. His father is very mellow, doesn't really speak a lot, but he knows he's got a lot of confidence. His father's built like an ox, too. I don't know if anybody's checked out what his father looks like. Saquon is small and stocky, just like his father. So it's crazy, man.
Obviously, runs in the family.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to say something about Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, he right now is not playing, and he has a voice right now. And a lot of people like his podcast. He has one of the bigger podcasts right now in football. I think it's a top 10 podcast right now on Apple. And I love his personality. I think he's great. But he's trying to sell his stock too much. And right now, he's not on the football field, so he's got a lot to say. He's got a lot to speak about. And right now, if I were the Cowboys, and I've said this over and over and over and over again, and Mike Greenberg said it recently, I want to give a shout out to Jamie Lee, because Jamie Lee says, Mike Greenberg said the same thing. I've said it in the beginning of the season, and now Mike Greenberg is saying it on his show. You absolutely should trade Micah Parsons right now. Right now, going into next season, you need some defensive help. And Micah Parsons, as much as he's a great player, he's not the same player in the second half. He can't stay healthy. He's barely played a full season since he's come into the NFL. And he disappears in games because teams double team him. He's got a tremendous amount of speed on the outside. There's no question that he does. But teams know all the defense is coming from the defensive line on either the right side or the left side where he's standing. So what do? They clog up that side so Micah can't ruin the game. So if you know that one player is going to ruin a game, you're going to absolutely defend him and make sure that he doesn't. Teams know that.
Yeah, or even heavy motion offenses will decoy away from him. The Eagles have done that a lot since Sirianni's taken over, where they're going to RPO, they'll go in a different direction. They'll run away from Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons will look like unaware in the backfield a lot of the time when Hurts is running, or they'll give it to a different running back. And sometimes you've seen the 49ers do that. These other heavy motion offense, Buffalo, I think, really exposed them in the second half of the season last year. And the Dallas defense in general was not the same without him. And obviously with him hurt now, they haven't been the same this year. And going back to his comment about the stupidity of it too, like you kind of see that kind of thing coming when the other teams besides the Eagles that were interested in Saquon Barkley were the Bears, the Texans, and also his Dallas Cowboys were also interested as well.
So they were interested in Derrick Henry. They didn't want to pay
I know.
him because they decided to keep Lance there. I mean, Trey Lance, the great Trey Lance, who barely has started in the NFL. And when he did start in the NFL with San Francisco, wherever he's gone, he's played for 3 different teams since he's come to the NFL. This is a guy that was practically the San Francisco 49ers gave their future up for 3 years. And Brock Purdy was the final pick in the 7th round a few years ago. I absolutely outdueled him. And right now he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. What does that tell you about Trey Lance? If you can't run in Kyle Shanahan's offense, then there's a problem. And that just tells you that you're an incompetent quarterback. Everybody can fit in Kyle Shanahan's offense. Ask Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was there for a half a season. Now look what he's doing in Minnesota. And by the way, one of the disciples of Kyle Shanahan is O'Connell. And why do you think he's running very well in that offense? Because he played in that offense over there with Kyle Shanahan. There's no blind side to what this offense could be. And the fact is, Mike McCarthy, I feel bad for Mike McCarthy. I really, really do. Because he already knew that this was his final season over there with the Cowboys. The Cowboys gave him nothing in the offseason. Nothing. He's running with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott and no other weapon. No running game. We were speaking about that on Monday. Dak Prescott had the furthest run this season in week 9. By the way, Dak Prescott could be out for a significant amount of time. As a matter of fact, he could be out for the rest of the season. So, I mean, this is an organization right now going into the offseason. You don't know where Micah Parsons is going. You know Mike McCarthy's not going to be there. You have Jerry Jones, who's 80-something years old, running the organization down to the ground. And you're deciding, or your Cowboy fans are deciding, who the next coach is. And if it is Bill Belichick, I'm going to tell you this right now. Billy Bell is not going over there if Jerry Jones is the GM of the organization.
Yeah, and you look at giving these backup quarterbacks that much money, a lot of time you do that when you need either a serviceable backup that is a good injury replacement or a good veteran leader. Trey Lance has been an unknown commodity in college and an unknown commodity in the pros, and you're giving him $5 million. He got hurt that first game when he played against the Bears in 2022, and he's only played in the end of games. Like you said, he got beaten out by Sam Darnold as the backup last year, when Sam Darnold, analytically, when he was with Carolina, was probably the worst quarterback in the NFL. Like, even Zach Wilson had better numbers than he did in Carolina. So, like, you look at that kind of thing. Now you're giving him $5 million. You definitely could have used that on one of those other running backs. Instead, Saquon goes to the Eagles. He's dominating the league. He's going to dominate. You guys play him this week. Have fun. Mike is not going to play, obviously, but have fun with that Dallas defense, who's been bad against the run all year, playing against him. And you go to a spot where all these luxuries are going to be there. The scheme, I know Kellen Moore's not great, but is a good motion offense with a lot of talent around you. He was inevitably going to strive. Same thing as if he would have signed with Houston. Maybe not Chicago, because their coaching hasn't been great this year, but you have talent around these guys. And Jabba, I don't think you've been on the show with when I was talking about the Giants' whole saga with they didn't have a good plan B for Saquon Barkley either. That's the biggest thing that frustrates me with Joe Shane. Saquon Barkley's been in the fringe of getting a contract for a while, and you could have used him to get a receiver. You could have used him to get maybe some draft picks, get an offensive lineman. Instead, you waited out. You made him unhappy. You saw in Hard Knocks that Joe Shane was really mismanaging that the way he did. And then what does he do? He goes to sign the Eagles, the same contract the Giants offered him 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense when they had a chance to do it and they didn't do it. And it's of course he's making him pay. When it comes down to it, really, it's like, I mean, you saw it on Hard Knocks and what they were doing and how he approached it, and I think it was completely wrong. And obviously, we've seen how Saquon has reacted to it, lack thereof, in a good way by just showing up and showing out, and that's what he does. And it's interesting to see if how they could have maneuvered money to be able to sign him and keep him, but be that as it may, he's showing you that you should have figured something out to keep him on, and he's just proven the fact that it is stupidity. And you know what? I mean, he's going to keep doing it. And like you said, he's got a chance, and he's as long as he stays healthy, it's between him and Derrick Henry as of right now, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, and what he does coming in. And I'm really interested to see what he does to the Giants again, and see if this time he's not so nice and gets the record.
So, guys, it's really a sore subject for me, but I'll ask you this, Errol. How many more games do the Giants win if they have Saquon Barkley on their roster this year?
I think the Giants win 9 or 10 games and they make the playoffs. I think they make the playoffs.
I don't know if they would have won more than one more game than they have.
I disagree. I disagree, because right now, if you have Saquon Barkley on the field, by the way, Daniel Jones has had his best seasons when Saquon Barkley and him are on the field. Go look. Why do you think Daniel Jones got that $40 million contract a year? He got that contract because the year that him and Saquon Barkley were almost at 100%, they were putting up big numbers. Saquon Barkley was putting up big running numbers and catching the ball in the backfield and was opening up the field for Daniel Jones. And it kept him away from making the mistakes. Daniel Jones, it affected Daniel Jones more than anybody that Saquon Barkley isn't there. So if Daniel Jones had that backbone that he's had over the last couple of years, I do believe they win 8 or 9 games. And if you win 8 or 9 games in the NFC right now, you're making the playoffs. And I think the Giants do make the playoffs. Remember, they beat Minnesota that year. Did we forget about that?
I didn't forget about any of it. I just say because the rushing stats aren't that far off without Saquon as they were last year. They're about 120. I think you said it earlier, Speedy, about 120 yards behind their pace from last year. I mean, not as good, but obviously not as good. And we all know Saquon right now behind Derrick Henry, probably the best running back. You could make that argument that he's just as good as him. And that's a sad case for the Giants. Look, if you're not going to win, I just like to look at it like Barry Sanders back in the 90s with the Lions. Even though they were terrible every year, those fans still have Barry Sanders. And it was something to look forward to. It was something to be proud of. And I found myself this week rewatching that Saquon reverse hurdle a whole bunch of times because I miss that dude. I miss being proud of that dude, even though he's not my guy anymore. That I found myself doing that, and I absolutely hate the Eagles with every fiber of my body, and I still was doing that. It's just really sad that they just went this direction, and I believe it was needless. Look, I think the rushing numbers are closer because now, and you're absolutely right, Errol, he's going to do a lot better. Jones is going to do a lot better with Saquon on the field because you're going to get so many more 7- and 8-man boxes to stop Saquon than you're getting for Tyrone Tracy, who's having a very good rookie year, basically out of nowhere, converted receiver, 5th-round pick. He's doing really well, but it's not like they're loading up the box for Tyrone Tracy. It's not like they're taking guys out of coverage, making it easier for Jones to make passes like it was when Saquon was out there. And I think that was really a big part of why Jones had more success with Saquon. You're seeing right now that they absolutely should have paid Saquon if they wanted to keep Jones. Without Saquon, Jones really isn't all that viable is what we're finding out, guys.
And I will say this, and to go back what you were saying, Daniel Jones wasn't 100% healthy last year. He got hurt. The year before that was the year where he got his money. That's where he got paid. And that was the year that he was just unbelievable. How many touchdowns he ran? I think he ran like 6 or 7 touchdowns. And Saquon Barkley was just absolutely dominant. They were a dominant force. And that was Daboll's first year where he won Coach of the Year. Saquon Barkley made Daboll smart. I mean, seriously, Dable really didn't have anything out in the open. He had no wide receivers that year. Let's be honest. His number one wide receiver was Slayton. And we've been speaking about Darius Slayton. On any other team, he's a fourth-tier wide receiver. He's not good. He breaks free once in a blue moon. Just think right now, if you had Neighbors and Saquon Barkley, what does it do for the Giants? The Giants haven't had a wide receiver like that in the heydays of Odell Beckham. And having Saquon Barkley at 100% like this, one game? What are you, nuts? Dexter Lawrence is a star. He's an absolute stud. I mean, by the way, thank you. You should give him a pitter-patter. Thank you, David Gettleman, I'm sorry. Mr. Gettleman. I give him a pitter-patter, and I loved what he did drafting at number 16 from Clemson or 17 from Clemson. That was a great move because right now Dexter Lawrence is the best defensive lineman in football. Ever since Aaron Donald has decided to step away from football, this guy is taken over. And honestly, the Giants are positioned. If they can find a better linebacker, now I'm not talking about Brian Burns. If you find another young tier linebacker to this defense could absolutely, if you had Saquon Barkley, we've seen a team like this go all the way to the Super Bowl and win. Come on. Manningham? I mean, come on, guys. That team wasn't good.
I got to disagree.
No, get out.
I don't. Just because I think you're forgetting the fact that they have. It doesn't matter if they have a good front seven right now. And I have the clip. I'll show it in a second because I definitely got the Manningham clip ready today. Guys, the corners are terrible. Probably the worst in the NFL.
But then they cut Nick
Banks.
McLeod, finally.
They cut Nick McLeod,
Hold on one second.
who was the one that got burned by A.J. Brown.
Hold on one second. Didn't we have an argument going into the offseason about a corner that was drafted in the first round about 2 years ago? And you said this guy actually is a good corner. He's a good number one. Remember that? I think it was you. I'm pretty sure it was you telling me how great he was. Speedy, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
I don't remember offhand.
You're absolutely right, but I also took Harris and the under, and it didn't work out for me last night either. So I wouldn't go by any of the bets I'm making or any of the predictions I'm making. It's just my emotions, Errol. It's my emotions with my team. Well, I'm just on a losing streak, man. Since the Yankees lost, I haven't hit anything. It's been tough.
Well, there's a lot of losing here in New York. There's no question. Even the New York Knicks, they're having problems so far with this roster. And this roster is not 100%, but I've been watching the Knicks, and even in this game against the Hawks, they're so much better than the Hawks. They're right now, the Knicks are 3-3? They're playing teams they should be beating. The Hawks are much better than, and they can't get over the hump. They can't get out of their own way. New York sports, we were expecting the Yankees to win a World Series. We were expecting the Jets to make the playoffs. We were expecting, hey, the Rangers and the Islanders making the Islanders right now are they're in the injury bug time right now. Barzell can't stay healthy. Oh, there it goes.
Yes, fish.
Fly like an eagle to the sea. Come on, Jabba. Fly like an eagle. I'm not singing the Titanic song, the Celine Dion song. That would scare everybody away if I sang that song.
But by the way,
can you sing that Celine Dion song?
No, nobody can don't like that.
Wherever you are. You like that?
Why did you sound like Kermit the Frog?
Well, I don't sound like Patrick Mahomes. He's the one that sounds like Kermit. So,
all right, Jabba, I do have to bring this up because Fish did mention Barry Sanders. I don't think Errol's told you this yet. The Cowboys fan that called last week, one of the three callers we had on Wednesday last week, actually did say my first year with the network that Ezekiel Elliott could run for the same numbers as Barry Sanders did with the Detroit Lions 1990s offensive line that had one good player on it. Ezekiel Elliott could put up the same numbers that Barry Sanders did at the time. And now Ezekiel Elliott is 30 years old and doing nothing in this Cowboys backfield.
No, he's not doing nothing but trying to be on the offensive line now.
Yeah, but that call in the beef actually said that at the time.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott could put up the same numbers as Barry Sanders.
Oh, I don't know. He must have got, like I said, I think I even said this on the show. I think he got into grandma's cough medicine because I don't know what you're thinking.
Chubby Chunker. Well, that's what we call him, Chubby Chunker. That's what he looks like on a football field. Remember when he came out of the draft and he wore that suit? He wore a half a shirt. Remember that? Where he was trying to show his abs and he was like, look at me, look at me. And I loved Ezekiel Elliott coming from Ohio State. I loved him. I thought the kid was going to be special. I didn't think he was a top 10 wide running back like like Saquon Barkley. I watched Saquon Barkley playing for Penn State. Saquon Barkley's on a whole nother level. When he's 100%, I don't think anybody can stop this guy. He reminds me the most of Barry Sanders. He does. Short, stocky, big legs, and can do so many different things. He can make an offensive line look better than they are, okay? That's Saquon Barkley. He did it for the Giants for how many years? That offensive line sucked. And that offensive line would look like Pro Bowlers right now for the Giants.
I remember you had that argument. I think you had the argument with Eddie Spaghetti when we had him on about he was saying that the kind of thing too when he was with the Giants. And they're like, oh no, you're out of your mind. And all of a sudden he started doing it with the Eagles.
So, guys, I used to go on a lot of coaching clinics. Sorry, Java.
No,
I
you're
just
good.
want to bring up this little side story. I used to go on a lot of clinics and go down to like Division I colleges, and like they like to take the high school coaches, give them some beers, and show them some, let them sit through spring practice, and then kind of have like little seminars at night in the bubble. Well, I got to do that with James Franklin at Penn State with a good friend of mine, and I'll tell you, I was there for the breakout year in the first practice of that spring for Saquon, and his backup running back was Miles Sanders.
Yep.
I remember just staring and being like, who the hell are these guys? It was the most impressive thing I've ever seen in a practice anywhere I've ever been. And it was the first time they learned an offense. I think they finished like number 2 or number 3 overall that year. Those guys have been, Saquon is for real, man. I still have the footage. I saved it on Instagram.
So why are you even going out there and saying that the Giants would win one game? One game? That's ridiculous. That's redonkulous, okay?
I wanted to bring that up because I listened to 5 different Giants beat guys go, well, running back wouldn't have made a difference with this team. And I wanted to see what you thought about that. I agree with you, Errol. I think they would have won a few more games because of how they would have to pack the box, and it would make it easier for Jones to make his reads. I absolutely agree with you. I just wanted to see what you think because I keep hearing that as if Saquon isn't this transcendent talent that he is. He was so disrespected by Shane. It's so bad. I've showed the clip from Hard Knocks without the sound. Go and watch that. Shane looks like such an idiot. He sounds so weird talking to him. I wouldn't want to sign with Shane either if I had a conversation like that with him.
I would rather go out and buy some Dippin' Dots than actually go out and listen to Joe Shane actually talk on the phone with whoever he's speaking to, because the guy's got he's got something in his mouth. Speedy, what do you think he has in his mouth?
Hopefully
Dippin' Dots, hard, something long, something thick.
Dippin' Dots are way too generous for Joe Shane.
So what would you give him? What would you give him in his mouth?
He could have the remainder of your least favorite food ever.
What's that?
I don't know what your least favorite food is.
Well, you got to spit it out. You like to spit things out.
It's
spit on things. What do you like to spit on?
Whatever surfaces first, I guess.
Oh,
I'm gonna spit out food. It'd be
all right.
Oh, okay. Well, what kind of surface do you like? You like it raw?
It doesn't matter. I'm spitting. I'm what do you think I'm doing? I'm putting my mouth on it first to test it.
Fine. I would hope so. Oh man. Wow.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, because we have the Sports Minute, when we come back, we'll get into the NFL trade deadline, which is, what is today? Today's the final day, or yesterday?
Yesterday was the
final day. A couple of big moves. We will get into that. Who's better and who is worse? When we come back, we'll get into that and much, much more. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
Yeah, that's right. It's Scoops with the Loudmouth Sports Minute, kicking things off with some NFL. The Texans announced that they are claiming tackle Zachary Thomas off of waivers from the Patriots, and the team did work out a bunch of offensive line this past week. They will be using Zachary Thomas to improve this poor offensive line and Stroud going forward. Now for the other NFL team based in Texas, the Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is actually a lot more injured than the team initially thought, as the MRI showed that his hamstring is partially torn off his bone. He is likely headed toward IR. Now to finish things off over in the NBA, ESPN's Brian Windhorst actually says Giannis is most likely not going to be on the move, although the Bucks are off to an abysmal 1-6 start. The team will likely not be moving forward veteran Giannis, and will probably do it in the future. As currently now for Scoops' scores over in the NBA, the Hawks are currently leading the Knicks 65-61 at halftime, while the Hornets have a 73-69 lead over the Pistons in the third quarter, while the Pacers have a 74-72 lead over the Magic also in the third quarter. And at halftime, the Warriors have a 51-40 lead over the Celtics, while the Rockets have a 39-22 lead over the Spurs in the second quarter. Also in the second quarter, the Grizzlies have a 35-27 lead over the Lakers, while the Pelicans have a 37-33 lead over the Cavs also in the second quarter. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now, so I'm going to kick it back to the boys for the continuation of the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Somebody out of a jar. What no? Oh, pain. You're a grown man. A nerd. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Aaron Marks, my co-host, Jabba Chamberlain, and Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy Petey, and Jabba Chamberlain every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Speedy, I was just thinking about spanking something. What do you think I'm thinking? What do you think I want to spank?
Jeff.
You want me to spank Jeff?
I'm sure you want to get on to him after all the times he's annoyed you.
So you think I would be better off grabbing his ass or yours? What do you think?
His.
Why? Why his?
Because
is it
you need to
better?
put him in his place.
You think by grabbing his ass will put him in his place?
Yeah, I got to try. Otherwise, he's just going to
So
keep
if somebody
ripping you apart.
If somebody grabbed your ass, would that be putting you into place?
No.
What it would be? What would it be?
A sick individual coming for me.
A sick individual coming for me. Well, they'll be coming, all right. There were 17 total trades in the NFL the last 3 weeks before the trade deadline. There were 6 wide receivers traded, including most recently Mike Williams to the Steelers for a 5th-round draft pick. Besides the Texans, all 4 of the top 5 AFC teams, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the Steelers, traded for a wide receiver. The Steelers also traded for a pass rusher, Preston Smith, from the Packers for a 7th-round draft pick. The Lions traded for Zadarius Smith from the Browns for a 5th and a 6th-round draft pick. There were 2 cornerbacks traded, with the Ravens trading for Tre'Davious White for a 7th-round pick, and the Commanders trading for Marshawn Lattimore for a 3rd, a 4th, and a 6th-round draft pick. I think the biggest trade on the trade deadline or in the trade deadline was Marshawn Lattimore. Because right now, going into the season, the weakness of the Redskins defense was their secondary. And now they got the best corner available at the trade deadline, by far. And Marshawn Lattimore, even playing for that Saints defense that's been up and down all season long, he was one of very few bright spots of that defense. If you look at his numbers right now, he's amongst the top 5 in every single statistic against in 9 weeks against the top wide receivers. He was playing and defending the top wide receiver on each team, and he practically shut them all down. Just think about that right now. And if you look at where the Commanders are this season, the Commanders are a playoff contender. They're a Super Bowl contender. Who would have thought that in the first season with a young quarterback in Jaden Daniels? But Dan Quinn, you all know, and anybody that knows Dan Quinn's defense, he loves to use those corners. He needs a number 1 corner for his defense to really take off. He didn't have that going into the season. His defense was still playing great football, top 10 defense. Now you had Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, seriously, this is a perfect fit. It fits like a glove, like Speedy. Do it. It fits like a glove, like a glove. Go, raise that hand. Glove. Say it, glove.
Yeah.
Glove. Come on, go. Glove.
I think it's Jabba's turn.
Yeah, well, glove.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Jabba wants to say glove.
Jabba.
No glove, no love, Speedy.
No glove, no love. Speedy, you like to grab things, right?
Not on someone's body.
No, I'm just saying you like to grab things, right?
If they have to.
You got to wear gloves, right?
Maybe.
Okay, you got to keep clean with it, right? Or no glove, no love, right?
Warm.
All right. You definitely got to keep warm. But I think that was the biggest move at the trade deadline. Also, a very good move for the Lions. They needed a pass rusher, and Zadarius Smith. Everywhere he's gone at the trade deadline, he's been traded twice at the trade deadline. It's worked out. It's absolutely worked out. And they're losing Aiden Hutchinson early in the season absolutely affected them, and they've had problems getting to the quarterback. Now you add a guy like Smith, who's really built to be a pass rusher. That's all he's good at. He's not good at stopping the run. If you remember when he was playing for the Ravens, I think it was, he was a good pass rusher. He couldn't stop the run. And even this year with the Browns, putting him on the other side with a very good defensive line, Zadarius Smith was really just a pass rusher. He was used for a third down pass rusher. Now you're looking at a player like this, of this magnitude, going over there to the Lions, who has a tremendous defense. Their secondary's finally playing very, very well. And I mean finally, because last year the weakness of their defense was their secondary, and one of their big strengths so far with Branch, even though he got thrown out of the game last week, Branch is becoming one of the top 3 safeties in the league. He's changed the dynamic of the secondary of the Lions. And now you add Zadarius Smith, something that they've lacked over the last 3 weeks since Aiden Hutchinson went down. This is a big, big move for their defense, Speedy.
Oh, absolutely. They solidified their run defense during the offseason, bringing in DJ Reader, who the Bengals certainly miss right now. Their run defense is falling apart, and bringing in a couple linebackers to help them out. That was another one of the weaknesses that they had. It wasn't terrible, but per carry, it wasn't great. But they definitely had to solidify their secondary. They did it in the draft, and now they solidify the edge rusher on the other side, because James Houston is a pretty good young player, but he's not a first-tier pass rusher. And the Lions need to get it done in quantity in order to make it work to get that defense going, because their offense is rolling. There's a reason, like you were talking about, Ben Johnson's going to be the hottest commodity among head coaches this offseason. Because their offense is as efficient as it gets. Even losing a couple offensive linemen to injury, their offense didn't miss a beat. Their running game didn't miss a beat. And they probably are the best team performance-wise in the NFL. They lost one game to the Buccaneers by 4 points this year. They've dominated pretty much every other opponent so far. And now they get a guy in Zadarius Smith, who's a very scheme-versatile pass rusher. He's a 6'4", 265-pound guy that, like you said, has had issues in run defense when he was with Green Bay, and a little bit this year with Cleveland as well. But also you look at, he's not somebody that's just a speed rusher. He played in so many different ways. And Washington as well. Lattimore was a great fit for them. I know Dan Quinn's mostly dealt with more physical corners in his career, but they needed something. Like your best corner was
Marshawn Lattimore is something. He's a top 5 corner.
Oh no,
right now.
I love Lattimore. I'm saying
he's great.
I love Lattimore.
They didn't have to give up a first or a second for Lattimore. It's a steal.
You're talking about a guy that I had
a steal
as the third best player in that draft. I love the guy. I think he's been amazing for the Saints. And for you talk about a position that was cursed for the Saints for a while. They couldn't find corners for years, and for like 5 years in a row, they had the worst secondary in football, it seemed like. And Lattimore had to revolutionize it. And he's had some injury issues in recent years that has hindered him, but he's phenomenal. Now Washington, I think, could have maybe gotten another pass rusher to help them out too, because they improved the middle of the field very well, and Dan Quinn's scheme has done a great job with helping them against the run. But at the same time, though, getting this piece like Lattimore, it helps their younger corners out, because they had to have their younger corners be number 1 corners a lot. And their defense was the worst in the league last year. So great move on that. As far as Mike Williams to the Steelers, it's an interesting fit. I don't know how it'll work with him and Pickens, like being the same type of player. I think they needed more of that slot guy to help them out a little more, a guy that could get Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, if he does return to the starting quarterback, the ball out quicker, which is a big weakness for both of them. But again, for a 5th-round pick, you can't go wrong with it.
No, I like it. And, you know, Lattimore, you look at the Commanders, they're 7-2. It's the first time since 1996 when they were the Redskins and then transferred to the Washington football team. And
Poor Dan Snyder bought the team and ruined it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, adding him and, you know, he's the top 5 guy. It's when you add that with the season that they're having, it's a great package. I think it's great. One thing I thought was real interesting too is when Jonathan Mingo got traded and he got for a 4th-round pick, and D-Hop and all those guys were 5th-round picks. Like, what? How? That makes zero sense to me. Like, I was like, what? Really? But I think there was a lot of underrated trades for teams that needed things. And I think it was real interesting to see. Yeah, there were some big names go. And Speedy, I agree with you. Like Mike Williams, yeah, he needed a change of scenery, obviously. And Errol, you called it, I think last week, and saying he's going somewhere. didn't know where. But having two receivers that are kind of the same build in the same game will be interesting to see. And obviously with who's delivering the ball will also dictate a few things too. But I think it was very interesting in how things subsided and went, and all the ones that maybe went a little overlooked, but I think those guys are going to make huge impacts coming down the stretch. So yeah, I thought overall, I think the deadline was fun and interesting, and there was a lot of added pieces. Two teams that are filling some holes that they think that they needed to, and I think overall it was a very successful deadline for a lot of teams and a lot of individuals.
Java, you mentioned Mingo too. I actually really liked him out of the draft, and I was badly wrong on that. He's like the second worst graded wide receiver this year, and like even last year too. Shout out to our friend Brian Drake, who we've had on the show too, fantasy guy that's fantastic. I saw the stat on his Twitter, like he's 110th out of 111th in terms of like getting separation this year. Like he's been abysmal.
There's been a lot of good wide receivers traded before the trade deadline. I mean, if you look at it, DeAndre Hopkins, look what he did against the Bucs, 2 touchdowns. Dominant force. Amari Cooper went. Davante Adams went. These are top-end wide receivers that went. And again, Deontay Johnson, too, another one that has had a good season with Carolina. I'm not a big fan of Deontay because on my fantasy draft board, this guy has been drafted every single year, and this guy can't stay healthy. But there were plenty of good moves. There's no question, like you said, John, but even unsung heroes that could really help when they go to when teams might be heading to the Super Bowl, aka the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Uche getting traded from New England. I mean, he's a good player. He's a pass rusher that can get at quarterback. So this is a defensive line that needed some help. They obviously were a little bit better last year, but again, Spagnuolo knows how to use these guys and move these guys all over the line. And I like what Spags does. I think he's the one that I think should absolutely be interviewed for a couple of jobs. This guy deserves it. He's earned a second chance, but we all know what happened in St. Louis. It didn't work out over there, and he's never got another chance. So I do think there were a lot of interesting moves that helped out. But again, Marshawn Lattimore at the trade deadline, that was the big name yesterday that went. We expected that to happen. And going to Washington, I think Washington is still the best team. Even with the Eagles playing as well as they have over the last 2 weeks, I still think Washington all around is the better team in the NFC East. And that's crazy to think that this team, after 1 year, bringing in a new offense and a new defense and a new coach, how this team just completely transitioned from one of the worst teams in the league to one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, you look at the way that the trade deadline went down too. Like you talk about the receiver emphasis. I think the pass rush emphasis for a lot of scheme versatile guys. Not a lot of stars were moved, but again, scheme versatile guys that could be used in many different ways. And I think when you look at the defenses, the way they're built, a lot of these teams that got these pass rushers, the Steelers, they know how to maneuver pass rushers all over the place. And Preston Smith's going to be kind of a third guy when Alex Highsmith comes back from his injury too. And that's a luxury that you want to have too. I like Arizona's too. Baron Browning's a good young one for Broncos. I know our friend Lance Sanderson loves him a lot, and he goes to Arizona. They need some pass rush help. That definitely is. I think Washington definitely could have used one more guy, but like you said, Dan Quinn's coached that defense amazingly too. Dante Fowler leads the team in sacks with 7. He's rebirthed after a couple of really bad years, and they definitely can make a difference. And they're definitely a lot better coach than the Eagles are when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. There's a reason that a lot of guys don't like Vic Fangio right now.
Fangio. Oh my God.
I mean, he's better than Matt Patricia, I guess.
Who do you think are the losers? Who do you think was the biggest loser?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think when you look at a team like the Eagles, maybe they could have used some other defensive help. I don't think they massively needed anything specifically, but I think when you look at, like you said, these veteran guys that haven't played as well with Slay and Gardner Johnson and guys like that have not played as well this year, maybe they could have gone after something in the corner market, especially when you look at Tre'Davious White only getting for a 7th round pick. He's not the same player he was, but I think they're definitely one. I think the Steelers, I don't know if I got enough of the right type of wide receiver, but I'm not gonna call them a loser. I think
you don't like Mike Williams for what they
I don't think it's a great fit, but again, we'll see. The Texans, though,
he's a big body that's going to go up there.
Right. I think he's the same type of player as Pickens, though. I think they needed something else. I think
he's a good red zone guy. He's big and he's strong. I think he's perfect over there. And you know what Russell Wilson loves to do, aka DK Metcalf, is throw the ball down the field and let these guys, go up and get the ball. And that's what Russ likes to do. He likes to toss the ball up in the air. He's big, but he's a big body that likes to do that. So I think it's a great fit. I disagree with you. Okay. I think the loser right now is the Cowboys.
Well, yeah.
I think they were the biggest loser.
I think they're the biggest dysfunctional mess. I think another one, too, that I think maybe could have helped with all the injuries that they had, maybe San Francisco trying to get some offensive line help as well, because, I mean, they can't keep any.
How about Tampa? How about Tampa losing, obviously, their 2 wide receivers and not adding a wide receiver that they needed? And you saw Baker Mayfield's playing his ass off. He is playing he almost beat Kansas City himself. It's crazy how good Baker is. And I'm going to tell you this right now. To me, he's the MVP of the league. I don't care if this team makes the playoffs or not. What does MVP stand for? Most valuable player. And he is the most valuable player on the football field for his team. He makes everybody around him better. Is there a number 2 guy on this roster right now that you can really be scared of on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And there isn't.
No.
There really isn't. They don't even have a really good running game. So it's amazing what Baker Mayfield is doing right now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I'd love to hear Fish's thoughts because we all know what the Giants didn't do this trade deadline. But your thoughts to some of the moves and some of the non-moves in the NFL?
You know, anytime you got to get the second worst receiver in football and give up a 4th round pick, it's just a great decision by the front office. You know, so just, you know, a nice little golf clap to the Joneses over in Dallas. Once again, guys, pitter patter for you. What a brilliant move. You could have gotten DeAndre Hopkins for less than Jonathan Mingo. What are you guys doing over there? I enjoy it. I'm glad you stink. And I hope you fire everybody and blow up the team. You won't, because you never do the right thing over there. So I'm just going to keep.
Maybe they'll bring back Jason Garrett to have a position for him.
One solace. Yeah, it's talking about golf clapping. That's all Jason Garrett knows how to do. Really, it should just be called the Garrett.
Yeah,
because that's all he ever did on the sideline. Oh, great play. Oh, yeah. Did you call any of these plays?
I love Jason Garrett on NBC Sports. I love him. How do you not like Jason Garrett pointing out offensive play calling and all that other stuff? Hey, he's better than Kellen Moore. That's for damn sure.
Well, luckily he's not the worst Jason that has come out of the Cowboys to become a broadcaster. Jason Witten.
Oh, he was bad.
Oh, God.
Great player, but he was bad in the booth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
You see how everybody's giving Tom Brady crap, too?
Oh, yes.
And Tom Brady's still probably 10 times better than Jason Witten.
Yeah. Look, the deadline, you're right. The bigger moves happened before it. I think the Lattimore move, Washington, they're led by a new ownership group. They've got a new head coach who was
new GM
coordinator
from the San Francisco 49ers.
Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator back in the day at Seattle in the Legion of Boom. So it's not like he doesn't have a pedigree. He obviously did great things with the Dallas defense, which now can do nothing without him. Again, enjoyable statements that I get to say, even though this is still this horrible Giants season. So I enjoy the suffering. I think the Giants couldn't get anything for Slayton. They were asking for too much. I guess they think he's worth more than a 6th round pick. Maybe they'll get like a 5th round compensatory pick if they lose him. But I don't know who's signing him. They're going to get a couple of 3rd round compensatories though for Saquon, number 1, of course, and McKinney. They should both be 3rd round compensatories. So they're going to get those picks. So they weren't probably in a rush to get rid of a guy like Ojulari, who I was hearing they're going to try to re-sign in that Bryce Huff role going forwards, assuming if he'd ever stay healthy. So yeah, it's not really great for New York, but it's worse for Dallas. So enjoyable deadline for me.
Yeah, I would say the Giants and also probably the Raiders, I think could have done maybe a little more as sellers. Maybe they were looking for the right market for, I mentioned Jacoby Myers on Monday, maybe as a veteran guy that they could have moved. That is the guy I think maybe would have been a better fit for a team like the Steelers who need that kind of slot guy. Also, maybe some of the defensive players that they have. They weren't going to get a big value for Max Crosby. I think they took him off the market last week, but maybe some of the linebackers that have played well for them this year and Merrick at safety, like the Raiders are not going anywhere either. And maybe they fire Antonio Pierce too. Who knows?
Ooh, I don't know if you fire Antonio Pierce, but yeah, when they didn't really do much too, and I think they should have listened to what maybe they could have got for Max Crosby, but they did. Was it last week that they took him off, or maybe a little bit longer?
It was later last week because Detroit was calling them a lot about Crosby.
They were never trading him.
Well, just listen. Doesn't hurt to listen.
Yeah.
They're the Raiders. They're not the brightest organization either.
True.
He's young. Max Crosby is a young pass rusher, could do a lot of different things. I think you wait into the offseason. If you're rebuilding, then you trade Max Crosby because you can get, I think you're getting a first-round draft pick for Max Crosby. I mean, how many pass rushers are as good as Max Crosby? I mean, how many pass rushers have as many tattoos as Max Crosby? I mean, seriously.
He's rivaling you, Java.
Oh, I think he's got me beat.
Oh, I think so. I mean, and I like his personality. I like what he does. And offset, he doesn't give a crap what people think. He knows how to dress. He's that type of personality you want to bring to your team because he doesn't care what anybody thinks of who he is and what he does, as long as he goes on the football field and plays his game. So I love Max Crosby. He's a personality. I think in the offseason, because the Raiders are getting rid of Antonio Pierce. There's no question that because they're going to go after Bill Belichick, even though Josh McDaniel didn't work over there. I could see Bill Belichick going there and then bringing Josh McDaniel to be the offensive coordinator. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. But the Jaguars are the team that I'm really set my eyes on Bill Belichick because ownership is a multi-billionaire. He's one of the richest owners right now in football over there in Jacksonville. And Jacksonville will hire him to be the GM/coach. And that's what they want. And they have a quarterback in play for a guy like Bill Belichick. So I do think that Jacksonville is in play for Bill Belichick. Also the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Eagles. But the Eagles aren't going anywhere. I think they're going to keep their coach. If this team wins 12 games, how could they fire the coaching staff? I mean, seriously.
They will have to
do that.
The Jaguars will have to rival with Raiders' new part owner, Tom Brady, though.
That's true, too. I mean, I can't believe Tom Brady still has a job as an analyst.
Oh, he was being criticized for messing with the criticizing the referees with the whole Brian Branch thing. The NFL didn't do anything, but I think it went against his legal contract of what he can't do.
It's crazy. How does somebody like that own 10% of a team and he's like double downing on it? I mean, seriously, he's making. I don't know what did he throw? 250 million.
375 million, I think, was the broadcasting contract.
No, I'm talking what he put into the. I think it was like
a 10% stake.
I think it was like 250 million that he threw into that stake. So just think about this. He put 250 million. That's going to turn into $1 billion for Tom Brady in the future because everything's going to go up in the future. Or maybe let's say 650 million. He makes 400 million off that deal. And then you look at what he's going to make right now. He's the highest paid broadcaster in sports history. Just think about that. This guy has no background in broadcasting. He's not very good, but he's making what, 50 million a year or whatever it is. It's some ridiculous number. He's making more money as a broadcaster than he did on a football field. So I don't understand it, but guess what? I never understood NBC with the contracts they give some of these broadcasters, aka Brees. Drew Brees, who was there for 1 year. And by the way, they bought out that contract. He signed a 4-year deal, and they just bought it out because they couldn't listen to that garbage anymore. And no offense to Drew, I like Drew Brees. I think he's a great personality on a football field. He would be like a John Gruden to me. Like you just watch like Drew's quarterback, room or something like that, and listen to what Drew knows about quarterback play. But as far as that, I don't want to hear Drew Brees what he thinks in a football game because he has no idea what he's watching. He really doesn't. Could you imagine a quarterback that good when he's on a football field and he's trying to speak about the game? He's all over the place. It feels like he's in a masquerade. He's in a circus, and he's trying to figure out who's coming out, the clowns, the elephants, or the ducks. I don't know if there's any ducks, but hey, Speedy.
That's the New York Jets. They're the clowns.
Well, we all know. I mean, I'm a Jet fan, so I'm a clown just watching that football every single week. I'm the biggest clown because every single week I think that this team's going to figure it out, and every single week they got a guy named Greg the Leg kicking the ball.
Don't worry, he's on IR now. Everything's good.
Oh, for how long?
At least 3 more games.
So he'll be back, as we all know, with the New York Jets. I'll be back, as we say with the New York Jets. The Penn State police are investigating Jason Kelce for slamming a Penn State student's cell phone to the ground before the Ohio State-Penn State game. Kelce slammed the kid's phone down after he said a homophobic slur about his brother dating Taylor Swift. The police charged Kelce with criminal mischief and disorderly conduct for the incident. On New Heights, Travis Kelce defended Jason, saying He was just trying to protect his family. Jason Kelce says he has regrets doing it because he made that kid go viral when he didn't deserve to. Mike Tyson said that social media has made people too comfortable disrespecting people when they should get punched in the face. And by the way, shout out to Mike Tyson. He's his fight's coming up with Jake Paul on Netflix. I will pitter patter for him as he's getting bought out by Jake Paul, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see how much he's getting paid after that fight. Because
side note, how much do you? Let's make a bet just between us all.
Yes.
What do you think? Because they haven't announced the number. What do you think Mike Tyson is getting?
I'm gonna say between 16 and 20 million.
I think it's going to be close because they did it smart by having it on Netflix because so many people already have Netflix to where it's like you don't have to spend the whatever it is. I mean, $30 or whatever. I'm going to go. You said 16 to 20, so we're going to put you at 18.
Okay.
I'm going to go 15.
Speedy, what do you got? Just take a guess.
I'll go 14, right under Jabba.
What is this? The Price is Right, Dick?
I'm not a boxing person to know that.
Well, this isn't really boxing. I don't know.
I mean, you're right. I know that it's celebrity boxing.
I will say this: Jake Paul is a great marketer. He's one of the best.
100%.
One of the best in the world. He really is. And I have to give him a lot of credit. I don't like the guy because I don't think he's a good boxer. I know everybody wants to sit here. Oh, look who he's beat. He's beat nobody. He's beaten nobody. And the one loss that he had, he lost against a boxer, yes, but an incompetent boxer too. So just think if he actually fought a Canelo Alvarez or any one of these guys in the prime or even at the tail end of their career, he would not win. He'd be absolutely dominated. So Mike Tyson's only going in here because he's a big fan of Jake Paul and his marketing skills. He loves what he's doing right now. He is selling out stadiums that other boxers can't do. And that says a lot about Jake Paul's marketing skills. I think he's great. He's great for boxing. He's great for sports. There's no question. I just don't think he's any good at boxing. So that's a big problem. As far as the Penn State situation is concerned, I understand Jason Kelce and what he did. Okay. He shouldn't be going out there and taking somebody's phone out of their hands and slamming it on the ground. There are so many people every single day screaming out homophobic slurs and stupid things, okay? I do it all the time off air to Speedy Beatty. I mean, not homophobic things, but crazier things than what he heard over there, okay? Is Speedy ripping my computer out of my hands or ripping my mic out of my hands and throwing it around? Not a chance in hell. You're in the media. You're a big star, okay? And this is where I go after Jason Kelce. You're a big star. I understand you're protecting your brother. When you date Taylor Swift, you're going to be the center of attention. Why do you think you got $100 million contract for your podcast? You think it was just because of your talents? It's because he's dating Taylor Swift. And what's so good about this marketing point right now with Taylor Swift, if they marry each other or they don't, which I'm predicting they're not. Because if they were getting married or they're really as together as everybody thinks they are, where's the friggin' ring? Okay? It's a fact. This helps out Taylor Swift, okay? Because Taylor Swift likes to write albums about ex-boyfriends. Who wouldn't want to hear about what Taylor thought about Travis Kelce in the bedroom? I mean, seriously.
But also it helps her in ways that she's getting more eyes,
of course,
from now like Chiefs fans that have daughters and love Kelce. And now it's a win-win for both of them when you look at it as we go back to the marketing aspect. And is it calculated? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, now she's drawing a crowd of people that necessarily probably weren't Taylor Swift fans, but we're Travis Kelce fans, and she comes to the game and Daddy, look, it's Taylor Swift. Can we go to her concert? When they probably were never in the back of their mind thinking about that. So is it calculated? I don't know. Have I seen people I've played with where they have calculated relationships? 100%. And to your point, though, with Kelce, it's like, you know exactly what it is. You're gonna get it. Do we snap at times? Yes. Has he been called worse? Probably. But now it's like, obviously he addressed it on Monday Night Football. He addressed it on New Heights. And he was like, now I know it was wrong. You knew that was wrong in the first place. Like, you're a great dude. You're probably one of the greatest centers, if not the greatest center. You can't sit there and say, now I know it was wrong. Like, you knew that was wrong in the first place. But also, if it wasn't Jason Kelce and it was just your buddy, because he was probably hammered, and if it was anybody else, it would have been literally, oh, okay, got my phone broke. Like, okay, well.
College kids are being college kids, yeah.
Right, 100%. So it's, when it keeps getting talked about, it's surprising you haven't heard anything from the kid. That's what surprises me.
Oh, he got paid off. What are you kidding me?
Oh, 100%.
100% got paid off.
He had to sign some contract.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. And so, and the crazy part is he never really like truly genuinely apologized.
No, he
like
didn't.
there was never really an apology. And so it's funny, not funny, but when he just how he did it, like he always beat around the bush. And then obviously you saw Travis stick up for him.
Jabba, don't you think it might have been calculated? I mean, this is a story. This brings out his personality, and I don't care what anybody says. We've seen crazier things. It could have been calculated. It could have been something that it brings to his show. It draws more people. If you look at what's drawing right now, what was the #1 podcast this week in America? That podcast on that particular thing that happened over the weekend was the highest and most watched podcast, even over Joe Rogan this past week. So just think about it. That could have been calculated. I do believe Jason Kelce, he's not a stupid man. He knows how to calculate things. This guy is making a ton of money, and he doesn't need to be on a football field to do it. He just had his fourth kid. Now he finally had his son. I think he has 3 girls and a boy. I mean, he keeps spitting it out. So, and as far as Travis is concerned, Travis doesn't give a crap. He doesn't care what people think, because all he's thinking is show me the money. As Cuban Gooding Jr. said, and Jerry Maguire, it's all about showing him the money. These guys know what they're doing. As far as I'm concerned, we all know that it shouldn't be done in the public eye, but this is what happens. So I'm sticking up for Jason Kelce, but I'm also telling Jason, if you don't want to deal with the emotional criticism from the press, then don't do something stupid like this. And again, obviously it's misconduct and everything. This kid got paid off. He got paid off. It's going to be washed away. No one's going to speak about this again. And Jason knows this, because all he had to do was pay the kid, probably bought him a better phone and said, here, here's $10,000, leave me alone. That's what he did. And he doesn't care, because look at him. He's made a ton of money as a football player. And now as an analyst and as a broadcaster, podcaster right now, where he's making tons and tons of money for endorsements and advertisements, he doesn't care about $10,000. That's chump change to Travis and Jason.
Yeah, I'm with him on the fact of like him going after the kid saying what he said was out of line, but slamming the phone. I'm like, the kid was recording something. He obviously wants to make a name for himself too. Like he could have just said, what you're saying is just ridiculously stupid. I mean, it's a college tailgate. I mean, it's not something you're live streaming or anything like that. I think he was just recording it to have fun. You could have had some swear words or some trash talk back at him and said, all right, go ahead. Then once you slam the kid's phone, that's a whole different thing. And yeah, you're going to have to pay him off. You're going to have to get him a new phone at that point. And I think he's right in the fact that he regrets the fact that he's giving this kid that kind of attention. You're right. He doesn't deserve that kind of attention. I think he knows he was wrong in that respect. But like you were saying, Jabba, I don't think he fully wanted to address it. He still was saying, part of me was saying, I still want to go after this kid, which you don't need to do that kind of thing. You're obviously the bigger person. You're the much more popular person. There's no reason to go at it further. And I think Travis is getting that kind of thing, the same kind of thing too. He knows that kind of thing and has to push it on his brother.
Well, yeah, and you go. I mean, all the money he's making on the podcast, he's making an extra $1.8 million on a 3-year contract with ESPN, and he got $1 million signing bonus. Like, I mean, it's one of those things. And Fish just pointed out, he's just walking around with a random case of beer. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just. And I think that's why people love him too. And Errol, like I said, calculated, like he's a man of the people because everybody like looks at, he's very unassuming and he's a people person and get it. So I wouldn't say the whole thing. I doubt it was like calculated to the extent, but use it to your advantage at this point because now he's taking a negative and getting more eyes on his show because you want to hear what he said and talk about it and all that. So now in his situation, you know, sometimes as you're active in playing, all press isn't good press. Yeah. In this instance, now that you're on Monday Night Football, you have a platform there. You have a top 10 podcast of all podcasts. So now you have 2 different platforms where you can show the human side of where people think you're superhuman when you play sports. Now it's like, oh, he's one of us. When he messes up, you know, he owns up to it and whatever. And don't know the man just from everything that I've seen and, you know, watched in the stories and all that stuff. We all have moments. And was it a moment? Yeah, but you live and you learn. And at the end of the day, who cares? Like, it's not like he murdered somebody. He threw a damn phone. I mean, he did spike it good. I mean, he must have watched a lot of Gronk spikes, huh?
That's what all the tweets are saying, yeah.
I know.
You can kind of see it right here. You guys see him holding it up real high. He's just heated that they're talking smack to him. He's obviously had a few already and didn't like whatever was said. Obviously, some kind of Taylor Swift insult hurled at him, which I'm sure he should be used to at this point. But I guess it's just it must just be so weird, Jabba, to have that level of fame. You know, I can't even begin to relate to it. I was wondering if you ever had like an experience where you felt like doing something similar, like to someone just like get in your face like that.
Oh, I mean, yeah, more times than not. Actually, probably the most that ever happened usually was like they would find out which hotel we're staying at and they would wait outside. So like we would go to dinner or they would wait after the game because obviously we have to come back to the hotel. And they obviously can't get into the hotel unless they are staying there. So there's nothing they can do. So they set up a barricade where they can't pass. And so they just sit out there. And then, you know, if it's like, you know, you walk by and you just walk in and it's, I mean, you hear every vulgarity. You hear you suck. You're fat. You're no good. You can't even sign. I was like, this is my home pretty much half the time of the year. Like, I'll get you at the field or I'll get you when I'm walking out for like breakfast or something. But like after a game, before a game, not like usually it wasn't too bad because they were always just trying to get to the field or, you know, we were leaving so early that they weren't even there yet. So, but yeah, there's been a couple times where I turned around and was like, I gave him a little, I never spiked a phone, but I definitely said choice words a few times.
Come on. I could see you getting pissed off if somebody's bothering the hell out of you or calling you names. I could see you going back and turning your head going to F yourself or something like that. I could see you going crazy because I know me. If somebody's saying something to me, I'm turning around, pulling my pants down and telling them to kiss this. That's what I'm doing. I won't even think twice. If somebody's speaking to me, I'm not slamming anybody's phone. I'm just saying, you know what? I don't give a crap. Take a picture of this and pull my pants down and tell them, how do you like this nice shaved ass? Speedy would like to watch it, right? You'd sign it or something? You wouldn't sign your name to my ass? Why not?
I'm not drawing on anybody.
Oh, well, you draw my ass.
No!
Why? If I got an autograph, if I actually had a tattoo of your autograph on my ass, what would you say?
You're weird.
You would have to sign it first, though.
I'll sign something else, and then his tattoo person can get that. But I just think it would be.
I
Strange.
want you to sign my ass.
I'm not drawing on
the
you.
top of the right cheek.
I'm not drawing
it's
on
all
you.
Speedy's.
I am not drawing.
My
on you.
right cheek is yours.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
I'll get your handprint
No.
after you sign.
No.
It'll be like one of those kid
No.
things, you know? You put your handprint, you sign the middle of the handprint. What do you think?
I'm not doing it on your ass.
I think it'd be cool if you grabbed my ass. I mean, that would be something for the fans to really watch in public eye. In a public eye.
No.
I mean,
I'll slam your phone if that happens.
Dynamite, Speedy. I like it.
well, it's, you can
Tommy, that's a new drop that we're always using.
Would you drop the mic?
No, I'll drop your phone first.
You know there is a dude. I'll have to go find it, and I'll send it to Fish when we're talking about signing your ass. There's a guy that goes around and gets autographs from people, signs them, and then he finds the nearest tattoo shop, and so he's got like hundreds of signatures all over his body.
Do you have to give him ideas?
Well, we're a team here, Speedy. We're a team.
We're a team, Speedy.
All right, so why don't you and Jabba
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, you and Jabba could do the autograph tattoo tour. Perfect.
All right, I'll tell you what.
No.
I will put Jabba's hand and his autograph on one cheek and you're on the other.
No.
You got to get the right.
No.
I
want
want
Jabba's hand on one ass and his signature on the other.
No.
All right, Jabba, fight. You can fight the power. Whoa.
Fight the power.
You join me in fighting the power against this nonsense.
No, I get one, you get the other.
No. We'll get Kenny to do both.
Well, Kenny would actually run after geese.
That's right.
The one thing crazy about Kenny, if you get him high enough, I think he'd probably agree to it.
I agree.
I think he'd agree.
Manipulate
By the
Kenny,
way,
it'll get it to work.
Kenny's like 6'7". That guy is like a giant, a jolly green giant. And this, could you imagine a 6'7" guy running after geese? I mean, they actually kicked him off of YouTube because he actually was talking about that. I mean, seriously, I would love to see a 6'7" guy run after geese. I mean, Speedy, what would you run after? If there was a particular animal, how about a pussy? Would you run after a pussy?
I don't own one, so no.
You wouldn't run after a pussy?
I do not own a cat. Snug will do that.
Well, have you ever touched a cat?
Yes.
How big is the cat?
Regular sized cat.
Oh yeah.
Again, this is Snug's expertise.
Was it
Snug?
Was it a hairy or shaved cat?
Hairy.
So it was an older cat.
I think so.
In cat years, how old was it?
I don't know. I don't own the cat.
Would you hang out with Keith?
No.
Would you hang out with his pussycats?
No.
Why not?
Snug will. Again, this is the perfect Snug conversation.
What do you like it? What color is your pussy? What kind of color do you like?
For a cat? I don't know. I guess for cat colors, I would go with a black one, but
So you like it black?
I mean,
Isn't dark?
I mean, yeah, I don't mind the orange ones either, I guess.
How about the deep part of that cat? Do you like that?
That has nothing to do with color.
But
Focus on color. It's not hard to do.
I mean, you have you ever shaved a cat?
No.
Would you shave?
I've never owned a cat.
Have you ever shaved?
Isn't there a hairless cat? Like a
I believe it.
A pink one. Would you grab a pink one?
I think it's a pink hairless cat.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, ask Snug.
Would you hang out with a pussy?
No, ask Snug. These
How
are all
big do you-
Snug conversations.
How big do you like your pussy?
It doesn't matter.
Let's
about
talk
size.
Show it.
Focus on color. It's not really that hard to do. If you're going to deviate to something else, size doesn't matter. Just like for food.
Well, size does matter.
No, it
It
doesn't.
does. You got to ask the pussy.
What? All right, you want to go interview a cat on their size of their pussy? Go ahead. I feel this is Snug's dream job right now, what we are describing. And then all of a sudden, yeah, you're gonna have that kind of thing. Why don't you have a Snug and Kenny conversation about it? The cats, pussies, and geese, and then you can go from there.
What's your favorite letter in the pussy?
What?
What's your favorite letter in the pussy?
I have no idea.
But what is your favorite letter? Right? If you were to pick P-U-S-S-Y, which one would you like?
S, I guess. I don't know.
Why do you like the S?
Because U implies it's a person. I don't need to get involved with that. I mean, Y, I guess, implies what I would be thinking in that moment. Why? So maybe I go with Y. But I'm going to go with the S because it is a reverse of a Z because it looks kind of like a Z, and I'll just fall asleep trying to think about any of that nonsense. Passing out, trying to imagine any of that nonsense being brought on to me.
You probably would pass out after you got 2 pussies. You probably would.
I definitely would. I mean, that's a lot of
Yeah,
pussy.
I'm sure you would. And
That's a lot of pussy.
And I know Snug would enjoy it. Oh, God. We'll have to bring this back. Actually, I don't even know if Java's seen it yet.
I think he has.
Yeah,
I think everybody's seen it before. I mean, at least seriously. I mean, what is your favorite part of a pussy?
I don't know.
I mean, do you
You
like
act
the,
like I know this nonsense.
what makes
This
a
is
pussy?
Snug's expertise.
What makes a pussy clean?
I don't know. Ask Snug.
How about what makes it cute? What makes a pussy cute?
I guess the color or the face. I don't know. Men in Black memory always.
WFAN Sal Licata said that the Yankees' first order of business this offseason should be trading Giancarlo Stanton. Oh, God, I can't wait for this. He said that the Yankees would be better off using Stanton's money to get multiple players that can help fill in the holes in the roster. He added that trading Stanton would allow the Yankees to use Aaron Judge as a designated hitter more often. He also mentioned that Stanton's contract as being a huge restriction for the Yankees to be able to re-sign Juan Soto. Stanton had a .273 batting average, 7 home runs, 16 RBIs, and a 1.048 OPS in the postseason. Stanton has 5 more years left on his contract, worth about $25 million or more every season, and then a club option in 2029 worth about $10 million. First of all, to have a power hitter that is DHing and putting up numbers in the playoffs like that, I'm keeping him on the roster, okay? If you look at Aaron Judge right now, if he's a full-time DH, and go look at Aaron Judge's numbers when he is DHing, it's not good. He's better in the field, okay? Just go look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. To me right now, I understand everybody wants Juan Soto. I know there was, and I want to give a shout out to Kevin. He sent me like an Instagram video on, they asked a bunch of fans out there, if you could get Juan Soto to sign a 10-year deal worth about, I don't know, $600 million, and that would give you would have to give Daniel Jones the same contract, would you do it? And I would say half of them said yes, and most of them said no, okay? So the fact is right now, Juan Soto's the big name right now on the market. Is Juan Soto the missing piece for this team to win a World Series? The answer is no, because he was on this roster going all the way into the World Series. He's a great player. Juan Soto's sensational, but I'm not paying Juan Soto $600 million. I'm just not. Now, we're hearing numbers between 550 to 600. If that's the case, let him go. Let him go to the Mets. Maybe that's best off. The Mets right now have guys like Pete Alonso that they have to pay. Now, if you bring Pete Alonso back and get Juan Soto, Pete Alonso is a future DH. The Yankees are in the same predicament as the Mets will be. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense why anybody would think getting rid of Giancarlo Stanton, and by the way, he has a no-trade clause. He's going nowhere. The only place he would go is the Dodgers, and the Dodgers aren't making a move for him because they need some infield help. So that's not happening, okay? As far as I'm concerned right now, and where the Yankees are stationed, and by the way, Sal Licata is a complete moron. And yes, if you're listening, Sal, you are a complete jackass because of all the selfish, stupid things that you said over the years on social media and screaming at the fans when they call you dumb show. All right? Overnight and now the midday show. The fact is right now, This is not, Giancarlo Stanton is not the answer on moving right now. Here's the answer. Do not sign Gleyber Torres. Bring in a younger second baseman or bring in a middle-aged third baseman. As far as I'm concerned, get that first base filled, and then you could decide what you're doing at third base. You could decide what you're doing at first base. Do you keep Birdie there, or you decide, hey, you're going to bring in a veteran guy to play at that position and try to spread out the offensive side of the ball. Now, if you bring back Giancarlo Stanton or even Juan Soto, the Yankees are still going to be looking to spend more money. Those are the facts. I know the Yankees want to bring Juan Soto back. I know people are saying that Juan Soto is the answer this offseason. He's not. He's not the answer because they didn't win with him last year. They're not going to win with him this year. And they need some pitching. They need to fill in some of those pitching spots. They need to bring in some relief pitching. Their relief pitching got tired at the end of the season, and they need another starter. They don't need a top-end starter. They need a guy that you could fit in the 4-hole, in the 3rd hole. Nestor Cortez is done. Okay, I'm just speaking the truth. Nasty Nestor, he's not the same player he was 2 years ago. He's coming back from multiple injuries. To me, he's a 5th or 6th starter at best. They need to find a good 4th or 3rd guy. Now, you have Clark Schmidt. He's proven to be a good pitcher. Maybe he's your 3rd guy. Well, you need a guy. You have to bring in a competent 4th guy. That's where the Yankees go. They need to bring in some infield help, young, make a trade. Don't go into your pockets and make any drastic moves. You're going to have to spend on 3rd. You're going to have to spend on 1st. But right now, and you know this, Jabba, over the years, especially over the last couple of years, 3rd basemen are not really making a lot of money. I mean, just go look. There was one guy from the Boston Red Sox that made a lot of money. Besides that, name me another 3rd baseman that's making, $40 million. There is none. And Bregman's not
Machado.
I'm sorry?
Manny Machado.
Yeah, but to me, he's back and forth as a DH and a 3rd baseman. And Manny Machado is a future DH now. I mean, how many years?
Matt Chapman. He's close.
Chapman? Is he making $40 million?
No, it's close. Just signed the extension.
Okay. Oh, did he sign an extension? But you know what I mean. There's not many 3rd basemen making 40 and over. You can get a competent 3rd baseman right now. If you want to move Jazz or Jazzy Chisholm at second base, you need to fill in that 1st and that 3rd. You're not bringing. I do not. It's going to be a long shot for the Yankees to bring back Juan Soto. You heard that Brian Cashman was over there in the winter meetings talking about Pete Alonso. Here's the thing: if they strike out on Juan Soto, I said this, Speedy. Did I not say this? The Yankees are going to go heavily after Pete Alonso.
Yeah, you did.
I do believe that because Pete Alonso is not going to be as expensive. Now, he's not a great defensive player, but he adds power to that lineup, and he can hit in the playoffs. He's proven to hit in the playoffs for the New York Mets. I could see the Yankees. You scratch one, you're paying a guy $200 million instead of $6 million. The Yankees benefit off of that, and they get the offense that they need from that position. That makes more sense than going out there and saying, we're going to trade our best offensive option in the playoffs for the last 3 years. Doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. And he's getting for $25 million for a power hitter right now. If he could stay healthy, that's cheap. That's cheap. So Licata, you're an idiot. You sound like a moron.
Yeah, quickly, we have Let's Parlay waiting, and I know, Jabba, you have some thoughts on this too, but the correlation with Stanton's contract and everything else doesn't really matter when we look at trying to fill in depth on this roster. You're going to take Gleyber Torres' money, you're going to take Anthony Rizzo's money, unless you bring back Torres, and use that money to get the depth they need. Like you said, more relief help, maybe another veteran starter that can eat up some innings, but it doesn't matter for Stanton's contract. You're not going to get much for Stanton anyway. Embrace the fact that he's hit in the postseason. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, and nobody, I mean, with how many years and what he has left, I mean, and fact of the matter is he has no trade clause, so he dictates what he wants to do. So yeah, it's just nothing you can do. You're gonna free up some money to get a guy like, I know he's older and he's had some injury issues, but he's pitched great in the postseason, like a Nathan Eovaldi. And Walker Buehler's had injuries. He's 30. I think coming off what he did, there's a lot of guys that could fit that 3-4 role that have done it that aren't going to cost you a butt ton. So yeah, you're not getting rid of Stanton. Like I would trade him. Well, how about you educate yourself before you run your mouth and be like, well, you can't trade him because he has a no trade clause, you jackass. Like, if you're going to talk about it, at least be coherent and understand that they can't. Like, they can't. It's not like he has, no trade accepted these. No, he has a full no trade clause. And when I read that this after we figured out what we were doing, and I saw somebody said something on Twitter, and I was like, what? And I was like, this makes no sense, because I was like, where did this come from? So yeah, it doesn't make sense. First baseman, I think he signed Christian Walker. I mean,
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I think Goldie. I love Goldie. Great dude, great approach, but I think you can get Christian Walker cheaper. He's younger, not as great a fielder, but I
still
still
love this year though.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I think that's like his fourth or fifth one.
No, Walker won a Gold Glove this year. I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Goldie has like 4 or 5.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So yeah, you get some of those mid-level guys, and it's been said before on many shows, including ours, where you got to have superstars, but you got to have role players too. You got to have guys step up. And so if you can get some of those guys, those mid-tier, and save some money because you're freeing up some money, then you find one of those guys, and so it'll be interesting. I think it was asinine that he even said, they need to trade Stan to free up. No, he's going to get hurt in the regular season. Yes, we know. We get it. It happens. But he's still going to hit and continually hit in the playoffs, and that's the goal at the end of the year. So just don't listen to these idiots, people.
Yeah. And to make it even make less sense to me, this is the last year upcoming that he's actually going to get paid. He's going to get $32 million this season on his contract, but it's a decelerating contract. He makes less than $20 million every year for the rest of the contract after 2025. So there's 3 years of him making 19, then like 16 and 16. And with the club option, I think it's only 4 years, not 5, Errol. So it's not as bad of a contract as they're making it out.
It's
Plus,
a good contract.
Look, it's actually not a bad contract after this next season. So is it a problem for this next season? I guess so. But if you look, Juan Soto we talked about it all season. If you're not going to try to do everything you can to keep this guy, I don't know what you're doing. You have arms in the minors. You traded away all the ancillary arms to get all these pieces because you have so much faith in guys like Schmidt and Heel and why wouldn't you? Look, sure, injuries of pitchers, but look, that's a pretty damn good future with those 2 guys, and they just lock up Cole for the next 4 years again. So you have 3 guys right off the bat without Nestor. Look, we know Stroman's gone, so they're going to find some guys, but they don't need to spend big at the other spots. I would love Walker. He's one of my fantasy guys that I've had for years. I just love how he hit, and his average has gone up in recent years. He's always had power, and he's a Gold Glove defender. Look, he's not Goldschmidt in his prime. We're not going to get it twisted like that, but he's way better than what Rizzo gave us. In fact, he's like a better version of what Rizzo gave us, just not the lefty, type of sweet swing that Rizzo had for a while there.
Yeah, and I want to say something before we go to break and our sports minute. If you look at his numbers, Giancarlo Stanton's numbers last year, he had 417 at bats, 49 runs, 97 hits, 72 RBIs, 38 base on balls, only 143 strikeouts. I know everybody says that's a lot, but here's the thing: 27 home runs. If this guy gets 500 at bats, he's going to hit 30, no doubt, with the power that he has. No doubt in my mind, and he's going to give you close to 100 RBIs. If you go up and you get 500 at bats, and you're getting 30 and close to 100 for what? $20-something million for the next 4 years. Where do I sign? I mean, that's a great deal. The last couple of years, it hasn't been because the guy's not healthy. But it's a great deal for the New York Yankees. I don't know why Licata's coming out and spitting up all that crap. Whatever it is, Speedy, you must be spitting with him or spitting on him, right?
You want your shocker? Finish your point.
Show me the silk shocker.
When Wes is on, I will do that.
I mean,
I always do it for Wes. Wes is not in right now.
Anyways, but I think Licata is an idiot. And again, he's just trying to sell his show or put his show up on the map. Sal Licata is a complete idiot. And by the way, Sal Licata is a Met fan. So who's listening to Sal Licata? Sal Licata is a jackass. He wants Juan Soto. You can have him. If you want him, I know Fish doesn't want to hear it. Let the Mets take him. Let him take him. Lindor's been a good move. Carlos Beltran, it's worked out. We've seen great players go to the Mets and absolutely completely fallen apart. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Juan Soto, but is it going to help the Mets get over the hump? The Mets are the Jets. I'm just speaking the truth. The Mets are the Jets in baseball. We've seen it. The last time the Mets won a World Series was 1986. And they've had teams that have gone to the World Series or close to the World Series. They can never get over the hump. They're just like the Jets. Anyways, when we come back, let's parlay, ladies and gentlemen, with Wes and maybe Chaz, but it looks like it's just Wes.
No, Chaz is here too.
Oh, he's there? All right, so we'll have Chaz and Wes. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
Yes, sir. It is I, Tommy Scoops, back with the Loudmouth Sports Minute. And to start off on the NBA court, after receiving a lot of backlash towards head coach Steve Kerr about benching Jason Tatum for Team USA, Kerr says that he does not regret the decision and saying that the team had 12 Hall of Fame players and that the team won the gold medal anyways. Shifting gears now to the NFL, Saints wide receiver Chris Olave is actually set to consult with the specialist after the wide receiver took a brutal hit against the Panthers, which sent him to the hospital. Olave is now working his way through concussion protocol. To wrap things up here now with the Lions defensive back, Brian Branch is apologizing to Packers fans for flipping them off after getting tossed against the Packers for an illegal hit against the defenseless wide receiver. Branch said that he is apologizing to all the fans and that it won't happen again. Starting off now with Scoops' scores, the Knicks are currently leading the Hawks 111-110 in the fourth quarter as the Celtics have a 95-91 lead over the Warriors in the fourth. The Rockets have a hefty 97-71 lead over the Spurs with a lot of time left in the fourth as the Grizzlies have an 87-75 lead over the Lakers in the third. The Cavs have a 99-88 lead against the Pelicans, while at halftime, the Mavericks have a 56-45 lead over the Bulls. The Thunder also have a 39-36 lead over the Nuggets in the second quarter, while the Heat have a 40-37 lead over the Suns. That is currently all the time I have for you guys, so I'm going to kick it back to the boys for Let's Parlay.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Out of a jar. Play one note card. Pain. Thunder.
That's one of my favorites. Pain. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Jabba Chamberlain, and Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy Petey, and Jabba Chamberlain every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. I'm losing my voice, Speedy. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm choking on something. Anyways, all you have to do to go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. See, I am choking on my words, Speedy. I don't know what's going on with me today. Do you know what's going on with me?
I'm not a doctor.
Do you want to doctor me?
No.
Would you check my pulse and all that other stuff? My blood pressure? It's very high right now. Are you wondering?
You have a girlfriend that's a nurse.
Would you give him mouth to mouth if something happened in the studio?
Would you give me mouth to mouth?
I'll try. I don't know how well I'll do it.
I mean, you better put something around that mouth. I don't know where it is.
It doesn't matter.
You're
struggling to breathe. You're going to take what you get.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we do this every single week. They're the best. We call this Let's Parlay.
It's time for Let's Parlay.
All right, boys and girls, money bettors, and everyone out there, including Speedy, who doesn't bet on any sports. We have Wes. We have Chaz. Who dat? What's up, boys?
Yeah,
Good day,
I really
good
have
evening.
no idea where that who dat came from, to be honest with you, but it's been on there and I like it.
That is funny. And there's no Saints fans on this group.
Well,
is there?
it might be when I was going to New Orleans last year. I might have put it on then and
hold on.
Forgot to take it on.
Wes, what are you watching behind you? What the hell is going on back there?
So if I walked you through the negotiation of putting a talkative toddler to bed, we somehow landed at he wanted to watch a movie with Dobbins. So I got a toddler laying down with a 91-pound greyhound, and Minions is the flavor of choice. So you don't hear him.
I like the Minions. I like that.
Yeah, so you don't hear him, you don't see him. He's every now and then he might shake his bottle at me to go fetch him another sippy cup of milk. Get him a little milk buzz before bed. But that was the negotiation. We are in the dog's room and we're watching Minions.
Well, Speedy likes to shake other things, especially shafts, right? What? You like to,
I don't.
You don't like to shake a shaft?
No.
What do you like to shake?
I will shake one thing for Wes because I do it every time. Here's your shocker.
There you go. And it is basketball season, so the Wichita State Shockers are back. Let's go.
Well, guess what? I mean, Jabba, we had a meeting over the last couple of days, and Jabba was wearing a really cool hat. You know what it looked like, Speedy? It looked like a Shocker. It was like 2 in a pink, 1 in a stink. Speedy, could you do that?
No, but that's not how it goes. It's
right.
You throw the thumb up because it forms a W. There is no pink and stink. It's a clean right. Wichita State. It's a buzzing bee Shocker logo.
Speedy, what finger would you rather smell? Your pinky or your 2 fingers right over here? Your index and your ring finger or your middle finger. What do you think? What would you smell?
My pinky.
Why are you pinky?
I don't know.
Smaller?
Yeah, sure.
Shifting, very easy to stick in.
Sure, whatever.
There All right, boys.
Yeah, it's none of my business. It's none of my business, okay? And you got to do what you got to do with your mouth. But you keep bashing him. He ain't going to be doing mouth to mouth if you need it. So be careful, man.
Yeah.
Good job, Chaz. You win voice of reason so far.
Trust me. If it comes down to it, I don't want him giving me mouth to mouth. Let me.
That's what I recommended before, but okay. Now you finally backtrack.
Call 911. Anyways.
Thank you.
Anyways, okay, guys. You don't know how Let's Parlay rolls. I'm going to tell you how it rolls. These guys are the best in the business. So Wes is going to give you his top 3. Chaz is going to give you his top 3. And then they're going to get one more to parlay it. These guys, over the last, what was it, like 10 months now, Speedy?
More than that.
No, but this year. It's been 10 months.
Yes. Well, yeah.
It's been 10 months. The number is 73%. So just think about that. 70. They've had their bad weeks, but they've been dead on some of the weeks. And they're mostly, if you think about it, if you look at Vegas is usually 65% right. These guys this year are almost 73.5% right. So I don't know. If you want to win some money, this is what you should be listening to. All right, Wes, you're going to go first. Then Chaz, you're going to go second. You guys ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna go NFL first, then I'm college the rest of the way, and I'll give everybody a little CFL bonus because it is CFL semis. But the NFL game that jumped off the page at me, I start off and there's just games I throw out no matter what every single week, and then I start to look at some of the line movement, like kind of where it starts and where it is now. And I know I'm talking to some New York people, but it is hard to overlook the weirdness that's happening on this line with the Arizona and the Jets game. This line opened and the Jets were a 2.5-point favorite. And then what happened? 61% of the tickets are on the Jets. So anybody that's paid attention to me for any period of time has heard me talk about line movement. So 61% going on the Jets means that line should go from Jets 2.5 favorite to what, 3.5? If there's a reasonable dollar amount. Well, that's not what happened. This line moved the opposite. And Zona is now a 1-point favorite in that game with only 39% of the action. So I want to be with the kind of money that was in that 39% that moved the line from 2.5% and fought the other 61% to get it. Or I want to be, whether it's a huge investor or Vegas, there's some money on that side of things. Then when you go to the football side of it, so once we're past the actual line movement, and there's smarter people than me, now I start to look at it, and we think of Arizona, and you know just at common sense eyeball, you think Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., you think McBride. Like I had to do a double take and actually double check some of these stats, but Arizona is very silently the number 7 run offense in the entire league. Now you go up against the Jets' run defense, which is very poor. They're 30th in the league in terms of rushing yards allowed. So this is just a perfect storm of everything on paper makes sense for Arizona at home. You kind of go even further, and some of their best defensive performances were at home. They held Detroit to 20 points, and that's any team that's holding Detroit to 20 points. I'm sorry, you keep the game ball. Because that is a real football team, the way that Detroit scores at will. So I'm laying 1 point, and I'm going to take Arizona at home to just outright beat the Jets.
Chaz?
In the San Francisco-Tampa Bay game, I'm out of sorts here. Bear with me. I was laughing because if Wes shuts off that TV, he's a floating head. All right, so what do I got? I got, as you know, I was on San Francisco's first half for a little run that they had, and then they lost, so I backed off. And the last 2 games were at home. On the road, they're playing better. In the first half on the road, they've scored 13 plus and 7 of 8. And on the road for the game, they've scored 24 plus and 7 of 8. In the last 4 overall, they've allowed 24 plus, and they are second to only Baltimore in offense. I'm going with the over in this game. Baker's got 23 touchdowns, 9 picks. He played a pretty good game the other day. He's just a baller. At home, they're averaging 30 points a game in their last 3, but their last 2 at home, they've allowed 36. So it's 50.5, and I'm hoping by the fourth quarter I can change the channel.
All right, Wes, give us your number 2.
I'm going to college, and I'm going to stay there for the rest of this. And I'm going to lay the 3 points, and I'm going to take Colorado. I like them coming off a bye, and there were a couple games ago, Travis Hunter sat out a piece of the game. And they were kind of really depleted on offense, and I think that a game like that built a little bit of depth. Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in the country. You can keep the Ward conversation. He's like a Malik Willis as far as I'm concerned. Lack of inventory is what has us talking about Ward, but Shedeur Sanders is the real deal. If they keep him upright for any period of time, he's going to pick defenses apart. But I like their speed. Travis Hunter is his own deal, but I like the speed and the depth that they have at wide receiver, and I like that they're coming off a bye. I think that this team, because of Dion, they're made to withstand hype. They've already gotten the first monkey off their back. They're bowl eligible, but now they are sniffing conference championship game, and they just need to win. The last bye they came off of was one of their biggest games of the year. It came down to under 20 seconds. They almost beat K-State. So I love this football team. It's easy to be a fan of them because they are entertaining. Love Shedeur Sanders. I think it's going to be wild to see what happens next year, where he does or doesn't go, because I think this is going to be a very controversial first overall quarterback taken, just because this dude ain't going to go. He ain't going to Chicago. He ain't going to Carolina. Like he will not participate where he doesn't want to go. And I think that's going to be interesting. But in any case, I'm going to lay 3. Some people might have to lay 3.5. I think you're good up to 6.5 on this one.
All right, Chaz, give us your number 2.
Yeah, I got to just chime in. I love the fact that these kids can get money for selling shit on TV and cars and stuff, so they don't have to sit there and be penalized by teams that suck so bad that every single year they get a first-round draft pick, blow a quarterback. He gets 5 different offensive coordinators in his first 5 years, and you expect them to be great. Ain't happening. All right, my next game is Detroit. On the road, there ain't one against the spread. overall, they've scored 41.2 points in their last 5 games. I've been betting against Houston in the second half this year. It's been pretty easy money, actually. They're not scoring. The first half, they're averaging 13 points. In the second half, they're averaging 9. But in their last 4 home games in the second half, they've scored 22 points. That's in 4 games. They've scored 22 points in 4 second halves. I'm on Detroit. Given, what are we doing? 6.5? 3.5. Should be 6.5. You know what? I'll do what Wes said. I'll buddy that up to 6.5.
All right, Wes, give us your number 3.
I can't believe I'm going to go here because you guys, everybody that knows me for longer than 30 seconds knows how much I love Ohio State. And so this is a very sacrilegious thing, but I'm taking the Wolverines. I am taking the Wolverines, and I'm going to take the 14 points. It's not because I don't believe in Indiana. I think Indiana is a very explosive team, and I'm a little nervous for Ohio State playing them, but this is a little trappy. Not only is it trappy, Michigan doesn't lose these games by 14 points. You got to look at their schedule this year. Who's beaten them by that other than the game they're coming off of to the number 1 team in the country, which is what makes the team up north dangerous in this spot. So it's kind of a double whammy of you got to take the points here. So I would probably be taking points all the way down to 8 in this situation. But I believe that Michigan is well coached. They're not as well coached as with Harbaugh, but I do believe in their coach. They still have some good defensive personnel that can keep them in a game. Now they're a disaster at quarterback, but Indiana is getting hype now. They're getting college playoff recognition. They're in a position that they have never been in before. I have not seen it yet, but I'm guessing game day or big noon is in Indiana. So either way, I think Michigan's just they are very dangerous in this spot coming off of their biggest loss of the season, catching Indiana trap scenario. And you could argue that this is one of the better teams that Indiana's faced this season. So I am taking 14 points. If it goes up to 14.5 and 15, I'm just going to keep dollar cost averaging into this Wolverines play. I think the Wolverines got a shot outright, which for Ohio State, that's not a good thing. We want them ranked and we want to beat them when they're ranked. But take the points in the Wolverines here. Double digits is disrespectful.
All right, Chazzy, give us your number 3.
Yeah, the Indiana, with Mo, we followed Ohio State for years, and Indiana had their number for 2 or 3 years in a row there. So
they did.
It's interesting to see. All right, so this is my 3rd play. I'm actually going to a bar in Pacific Beach. It'll probably be 75 degrees and sunny because the Santa Anas are in. Because a friend of the wife's boyfriend or husband, could be, I don't know, I never met the guy, is an Eagles fan. So we're going to an Eagles bar, the Eagles bar in PB, and so I'm betting the Eagles. But that's not why I'm betting. I'm betting because Dallas gives up 150 yards a game, and if Philly only gets rushing, if Philly only gets 150 yards a game, it's a bad game. There's a guy on Philly. He's a running back. Sometimes he runs frontwards. Sometimes he runs backwards. He's pretty good. But the bottom line is he's had some experience against the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys and the Saints are both done. And when I say done, I mean blowing up done. I don't think this game's going to be as close as a 7.5.
All right, Wes, give us your parlay.
Yeah, so this one, this is just a team. It's always been hard for me to like the coach, but I'm looking at LSU, Alabama. These big games of the week are typically dangerous. They're typically stay away from this game of the century of the week. But I've been very outspoken. I think Brian Kelly is nothing. I think that he had some really good seasons. I've said it before. I think that he had some really good seasons at Notre Dame where there was weird things that happened to other teams. The year he took them to the Natty, K-State and West Virginia took a turn at being number 1. That was just a really weird season that he took them to a Natty. So Both teams are kind of coming off a bye. I like Bama in this spot, but that's not what the play is going to be. I think that they're both going to get off to slow starts. It's going to be loud. It's a night game in Baton Rouge. I'm looking at 58.5 points, and I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that we're going to have a pretty soft, feel them out, jab, jab, jab kind of first quarter. And I think that the beginning of the second quarter, we might start to see it pick up. I think that we could be looking at a first half that ends, very 14-7, 14-10-ish, 13-10, something like that. Then we'll see some scoring in the second half, but we're looking at a 58.5, 59 point over under. I don't think it's going to get there. I'm going to play the under here, not the sexy pick. And, you got to bite your nails to the very end. But I think that Bama's going to be ahead double digits, and that's probably going to guarantee the under.
All right, Chaz, give us your final pick of the night.
So tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I'm taking my son to the airport. He's going to that game, Wes. He's going to the game. For 3 days, we've been hearing, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I know what to do. But I did remind him of your feelings of Brian Kelly. Just so, but he's excited because, you can get a ticket in your hand in New Orleans by going to Caesars, All right, so my final play, Petey, is are you sitting down?
I'm sitting down, yes.
He might be sitting.
Okay.
I'm sitting on a chair.
I'm taking the Chargers.
Oh, boy.
I know. Now, here's the thing. Wow. In my notes, Tennessee sucked. Tennessee sucked so bad that New England beat them with the points. Tennessee has scored 20 or less in 7 of 8. But here's the thing. Though San Diego is a field goal machine, their defense is playing really, really well. And they have the number 1 quarterback rating against them, 75.9. They have not allowed 21 points this year. Nobody has scored 21 points on them. Not one team. Somebody scored 20, Pittsburgh. Think about that. If Pittsburgh is the best offense you got, and that offense wasn't pretty good, I think they're going to do again what they did last week, 23-7, something like that. But they're giving 7.5. If that's the one that blows my parlay, it'll hurt more than the others.
You'll hate the Chargers even more, Chaz.
Listen,
this is how
oh my God.
Listen, Speedy
But
knows.
the bottom line is defense wins games, guys. It always has. It always will.
Speedy knows all
Well,
about
I gotta
loads and everything, right, Speedy?
Wes has his bonus CFL pick. Let him get to that.
Well, I'm not going to give CFL picks. I mean, as hard as it is for me to swallow, most people don't care. But we are in the CFL conference finals, and what I wanted to pick to point out, and this is me taking credit. Preseason every year we talk about who's winning the Grey Cup, and last year in May I called Montreal for plus 1200, who won the Grey Cup. They're in the conference finals. And 2 years ago it was Toronto. I called them in about September. This season at plus 1800 I called Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is playing Toronto with an opportunity to go to the Grey Cup this weekend. So we're looking at a lot of plus 1800 plays. More than anything, this is a reminder to join us in May when we're getting ready for the CFL and listen to what some of these futures are, because at this point, if you wanted to bet on Saskatchewan to win the Grey Cup, I think the best you would find it is like plus 300. So they got their work cut out for them, but it's a 4-point dog, I think, is where they're at right now for this weekend.
All right, boys.
Then the best part about those futures, Wes, is if you get to the final game, you can take money if you want.
Well, that's usually what I do. So I stopped hitting it somewhere in August, but I mean that's the real strategy with these futures is if you're going to bet $10, instead of betting $10, you bet $9 on what you want, and then you take the $1. So like the Chargers this week, instead of betting 10, you bet 9. And then you put $1 parlayed with your future bet. And you just keep doing that. And you don't even miss it. But by the time you get there, you're sitting on 10, 20, 30 of these things. Cash half of them out. And now enjoy the game, and you got some pie in the sky bonus. Instead of being the guy that lays, $10 10 grand on the Browns to win the Super Bowl in September, you don't need to approach it that way. It's very little investment, and that's typically how I do it. In almost every championship game, I find myself with a bunch of future bets.
All right, boys, we really appreciate you joining us. We got a couple of stories that we have to get into and make our picks, so we really appreciate
Have a good
that.
week. Always be cashing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, guys, we'll talk. Always be cashing.
Worldwide Wes and Chaz, ladies and gentlemen, they're fantastic as always, and we got a couple of topics to get into. I know Jabba was writing down some of these picks. I definitely go. Wes is really dead on with a lot of his picks. So is Chaz. I think Chaz, at what was it, like 2 weeks ago? He was like 12-0 or something like that with his picks on this show and Moneyline Mania. So they're usually on target with some of their picks, and Wes is very good at picking things before it even happens. So he wins. He wins a lot of money off that. Stephen A. Smith says that Aaron Boone is to blame for the Yankees' miscues in the World Series. Smith says that Boone shouldn't be fired, but has a lot of questions to answer and agrees with Joe Kelly about the Yankees being lazy. He added that Juan Soto shouldn't want to stay with the Yankees because they crumble when the lights are brightest. Brian Cashman said Aaron Boone was exceptional during the playoffs and World Series and will likely pick up his team option on his contract by this weekend. Cashman added that there's no other manager that would have won the Yankees, the series with all the mistakes they made on the bases and in the field. Cashman also took shots at Joe Kelly, saying that it is personal with him criticizing the Yankees. He said that many Dodgers executives told him the Yankees are not lazy and are one of the hardest working teams in the league, and Cashman brings in players that fit those values. Brian Cashman is the GM of the New York Yankees, okay? And Brian Cashman is going to stand up for all the moves he makes, including the Aaron Boone move. Do I think Aaron Boone has made mistakes? 100%. Do I believe that Aaron Boone is looked at as one of the worst managers in baseball? Absolutely not. Right now, and I said this many, many times, Aaron Boone is one of only 2 players in a 7-year span, 6 out of the 7 years to take a team to the playoffs. He's one of 2, okay? And if you look at Aaron Boone's record right now, as a Yankee manager in 7 years, he has the best winning percentage in Yankees history as a manager. Just think about that. You're talking about all these different managers. Billy Martin, remember, he came back, he disappeared, he comes back again. He was a great manager. He won so many World Series, if you remember. Joe Torre, who won how many World Series with the New York Yankees as the manager? If you go back of all those teams and all these different managers the Yankees have had, in a 7-year span, Aaron Boone's the best. So, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to winning and losing, it's not easy to win a World Series. Jabba knows he won it in 2009. It's not easy winning a world championship, especially in baseball. You can get hot. You have the hottest pitching. You have the hottest hitter in baseball. It's hard to beat those teams. It really is. Were the Yankees ready and willing to do whatever it takes to win a World Series this year? I don't know. We all know that Jazz Chisholm had a big mouth and he threw this team under the bus. Okay? We know that. And Garrett Cole, if he doesn't make those mistakes in Game 5, maybe they go to a Game 6, win Game 6 and go to a Game 7, and anything could happen. I know Braun didn't think that when we had him on the show the other day. He didn't think that the Yankees had a chance. I beg to differ. The Yankees could have been up in this series 3-2. So, again, were the Dodgers the better team? 100%. Now, to Stephen A. Smith, who's a complete moron. All right. Now, I think that the Yankees had a lot of miscues, but that's not Aaron Boone's fault. That wasn't Aaron Boone's fault. All the errors that the Yankees made on the field in game number 5. These are superstar players. Aaron Judge is the MVP of the American League. And then we go to Volpe. This guy was the best defensive player in the American League last year. He made a mistake there. Jazz Chisholm has one of the best arms in baseball. Okay? And again, he wasn't a third baseman, but he's still a competent third baseman. How about Anthony Rizzo, who's been one of the best first basemen in the last 10 years? He making that play the way he did. And Garrett Cole, who was a Cy Young winner the year before. The mistakes that they made had nothing to do with Aaron Boone. Now, what he did in game number 1, bringing in Nestor Cortez, yeah, you can question what he did over there, not bringing in Hill. There's a lot of questions. You're going to tell me for years Roberts didn't make mistakes? Roberts is a complete moron. He is. He's had how many great teams? He's won 2 World Series, and he's been there for what, 10 years? 2 World Series. This team's got a tremendous payroll. All deferred money, but a great payroll with a lot of great players. Mookie Betts making $300 million. Friedman making close to $200. Ohtani making $700 million. I mean, we could go on and on and on. Yamamoto. We had Clayton Kershaw for years getting paid a lot of money. There's a lot of these guys that are making tons and tons of money over there in the Dodgerville. They like to open up their pockets ever since Magic Johnson took over with his paying grid. As far as I'm concerned, Brian Cashman's going to stick up for all his guys. And he likes to throw guys under the bus. Jabba knows all about that. He loves to. He did it to Derek Jeter. He did it to Jabba Chamberlain. He's done it to many different people. But when it comes to the organization in the Yankees, as far as crumbling, this is a team that's won 27 World Series. Crumble? Okay. Now, Stephen A. Smith, what have you won? What have you won? I mean, you can't even shoot a basketball. You're going to tell me and you're going to attack the New York Yankees on miscues and winning? You're an idiot. The only thing you've won is stealing money from ESPN. You idiot. I'm so tired of it. Joe Kelly, what have you won? You're an idiot. You're a jackass. Your podcast can lick Speedy's rear end. Okay? I am tired of listening to Joe Kelly. And the fact that Stephen A. Smith agreed with him shows you how incompetent that idiot is. And as far as Aaron Boone is concerned, I would be laughing at Stephen A. Smith talking about him and speaking about him because numbers don't lie, buddy. They don't. Winning World Series aren't easy. As a matter of fact, could you name the last team that won back-to-back World Series? Let's hear it. It was the Yankees in the 90s.
I'm sure Stephen A. Smith wouldn't know that.
Stephen A. Smith, who's a Yankee fan. By the way, Stephen, if you know so much about the Yankees because you're so open for it, let me ask you a question because I guarantee you couldn't answer this. All right? In the 90s, who was the Yankees' best pitcher? I would love to hear your take on that. In the 90s, from 90 to 2000, who was the Yankees' best pitcher? I can tell you right now, I guarantee you he doesn't know. Jabba, I'm sure you know too. That's because Stephen A. Smith sells whatever he wants to sell on his radio show or television show because he thinks he knows everything. He thinks that because he's a Yankee fan, he knows best. The only thing he knows is basketball. And as far as I'm concerned, this loss against the Hawks was horrible by the New York Knicks. That's embarrassing. I don't care if it was in Atlanta. That's embarrassing. You are a better team. The Knicks are 3-4 right now. They're not playing good basketball, and Tom Thibodeau has to get this team playing. Sorry, I had to add that.
Yeah. Even just ranking when you look at what Stephen A.
There
Smith,
you go, Jabba. Show them off. Show them off.
What Stephen A. Smith covers even the most on those shows too. He talks basketball, he talks college football and boxing.
And boxing knows nothing
more than he does with baseball. What Stephen A. Smith sounds like is all these Yankee fans that will just love to overreact on one small thing. What have you done for me lately? These are the same ones that probably booed Stan. These are the same ones that probably booed Judge at the beginning of this year when he wasn't hitting in April. Like just an overreaction type thing. Just because Dave Roberts managed well with all the injuries this year does not mean that Aaron Boone managed badly. Like we were talking about it last week, Jabba, with Jason Michaels on the show. Like during that 5th inning, like these are all fundamental errors. Aaron Judge just dropped an easy fly ball. Anthony Volpe, looking at the replay of that ball, like most shortstops would not get to it. If Aaron Boone overshifted Volpe into the middle of the field and the ball's hit there, okay, that's different. He didn't do that. He's in normal position, and not many shortstops will be able to get that ball. Not many shortstops will be able to make that throw to third as it is. It was an aggressive play. A young player made an aggressive play, and it just didn't work out. And then Garrett Cole freezing to run to first base. No, Aaron Boone is not telling you to do that. It's not a football coach telling this is how you scheme up against this kind of thing. It's not a batting coach even saying that, all right, here's how you beat this particular shift. These are the spray charts for this kind of thing. These are mental errors in the field and on the bases. You want to blame somebody? Why don't you blame the great Luis Rojas who's sending Giancarlo Stanton? Maybe blame him, not Aaron Boone. Because Luis Rojas, we know what he did as a manager his last year with the Mets. That was not very good by any means. But even so, Aaron Boone managed this postseason very well for the most part. Brian Cashman's 100% right.
Yeah, I think, and also too, it's, yeah, decisions are one thing, but at the same time, he's not throwing a pitch, he's not running the bases. It's, you know, he's trying to put people in the best situation they can, and it's Stephen A. Smith can say what he wants. I will say there was a couple things he brought up that actually, you know, made a little sense, but also Stephen A. Smith can literally go into it and have his little producer in his ear telling him exactly what the stats is so he doesn't sound like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on live TV before. I know how that goes. When somebody else is talking about something and they ask a question, boom, they're in the back. The stat guy's in the back looking it up so you can hear it in your ear as you're talking. So don't act like I don't know that. And he's not coming off the top of the dome with these statistics. There's no way. There's no way. There's not enough time in the day for him to use those words, which one of my favorite segments is when Kevin Hart goes on and makes fun of him for using the words out of context just to just because. And it makes me sick when he talks about baseball. I remember during the All-Star game when Ohtani was in the home run derby and started the game, he's like, he can't be the face of baseball. He doesn't speak English. Hey, jackass, he speaks English. Did you not hear him? Like, oh, so is he not the face of the game now? Like, what? Okay. Don't go back on your words and be like, he speaks English. They all do. They just don't like to do it around crowds. It's just different. You didn't say anything about these other guys that just speak Spanish. You just focused on him because he is a generational talent that is the face of the game. You talk about all these other Dominicans, Venezuelans, Puerto Ricans, Panamanians. I mean, we got Colombians now. Mm-hmm. If they were generational talent, would you say the same thing? You don't say anything about Juan Soto because Juan Soto speaks English. Let's just call it the way it is. And to sit here and say, he did make. Did you listen to the interview? Obviously,
yes.
I did like his point about when Juan said, "You know, I'm keeping it open to everything." He was like, "I wouldn't have said it that way," and I agree with him. First of all, I get all of these. The beat writers and everybody are asking questions that come down from somebody else right after you just lose the World Series. That's not a question, you know, that I would ask if I was a beat writer or if I, you know, was working for AP or whatever. But also Juan could have just said, hey, you know what, we just lost. Let me comprehend this. And this is Scott Boras talking to Juan. I 100% have seen this a million times. Where he did say, I love being in New York. I love this. But you know what? I'm open to all 30 teams. Like, play your cards right in the aspect of, like, there was no emotion there. Like, when they showed the clip of Juan afterwards, he was like, I love being in New York. I like the people. I like where we got. But you know what? I'm going to keep everything open and I'm going to keep – like, there was no emotion. Like, you just lost the freaking World Series. I don't care if you're going to leave next year, but, like, that just showed me that there's, like, and my point being to what Stephen A., where I agreed with him on this, because then he pointed out, he goes, I wouldn't have said it that way because it shows that this is just a business deal. This isn't about you caring and wanting to be there. And before I even listened to it, when I saw, I was just like, God, this is gonna be cringeworthy, but obviously I have to watch it. So, and I was like, man, that's a really good point. But the other stuff, he can go kick rocks and sit on his chair and listen to his producer give him all the stats. And He can do whatever he wants and act like he's a Yankees fan and throw
But
at first
that's
base.
what bothers me. That's what bothers me about Stephen A. Smith. I understand he's trying to sell his product, and that's what he is. He's a salesman, and that's why he's on television. That's why he hires all these people to do what he needs them to do analytically, personality-wise. And that's why he has all these different Shannon Sharp, all these guys on his network, Chris Russo. He brings these guys in because they're personalities, just like we're personalities. But the fact is what does he know about baseball? Honestly, has he ever been in a batter's box? Has he ever actually been in a batter's box and actually swung at a ball? Because to me, when you listen to somebody like Stephen A. Smith, and I know he knows basketball, I know he was a beat writer for the 76ers, I know that what he has said over the years, his prediction that LeBron James was going to go to Miami, he was the first person to know that because LeBron was licking his ass before that ever happened. And shame on LeBron to do it the way he did it in Connecticut. The fact is, I look at Stephen A. Smith, he is trying to sell people by his response to what other people are saying and use it to fuel everything that's around him as far as personalities are concerned. I think right now, I'm not saying Aaron Boone's the best manager in baseball. He's a top 5 manager. Is Aaron Boone right about everything that he did this year? No. But this is a guy that's never been a manager before he got this job. This guy was a broadcaster. The Yankees gave him the job because Brian Cashman thought, hey, you know what? I think he's the best guy for this job, personality-wise, and for the growth of some of these young players that are coming up. We think he's the best fit for the organization. I mean, they interviewed Carlos Beltran. They like Carlos Beltran, but Carlos Beltran wasn't fit to run this organization moving forward. The Yankees start bringing in a guy like Aaron Boone, who's quiet. He's a player's player, and he's a team player. He's not all about one player or that player. He wants to bring the team together in the locker room. That's the guy that I think Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner thought would be the best fit for the organization. As far as where the Yankees are and what the Yankees have been trying to do over the last couple of years to get number 28, it's not easy. As you can see, this is the first time in 15 years the Yankees have been in the World Series. Jabba, you know, because you were in the last World Series for the Yankees when they beat the Phillies in the World Series. You know all about it. You know what it takes to win. It's not easy. You can't just drive to the stadium and walk right in and say, we're the Yankees, we're going to beat you. Right now, the Dodgers, on paper, going into the offseason, are expected to land some big names. If they do that, they're going to be the favorites again. But guess what? On Vegas, when the Yankees lost this year, guess who was number 1 on Vegas? The Yankees. So to say that the Yankees are lackadaisical and lazy, here's the thing. And I'm going to say this very nicely because I'm looking at the top defensive teams in baseball. The Braves, did they make the playoffs this year? They did. The Cubs, did they make the playoffs?
No.
The Reds, did they make the playoffs?
Nope.
The Pirates, did they make the playoffs?
Nope.
The Giants, did they make the playoffs?
No.
The Phillies, the Dodgers did. Did the Cardinals make the playoffs?
Oh, God, no.
Did the Red Sox make the playoffs?
Nope.
Did the White Sox make the playoffs?
They're 10th? Wow. They did something well.
Just think about this. Just think about this. You know where the Yankees are? They're sitting right now as top defensive
21,
team?
I think.
16 in the middle. And to say that the Yankees are a terrible defensive team, we're in the middle, they're good. They're a good defense. Not a great defense. They're a good defense. Did they make lazy plays in the field that cost them runs? 100%. To say they were lazy throughout the season and throughout the playoffs, shame on anybody to say that. You make mistakes. You're tired. 162 games. Jabba, you know all about this. 162 games is a long, long season. To say that the Yankees are lazy, I think it's ridiculous. There are teams that I've seen that were lazy this year. Here's a team that was very lazy throughout the season, the Rangers. The Rangers. This is a team that won the World Series. You know where they were ranked? They were ranked 18th. They made some lackadaisical plays in the regular season. They didn't even make the playoffs. Okay? The Nationals, another lazy team. How many mistakes did they make this year? Okay? And here's another team that everybody keeps talking about. Everybody keeps talking about the Dodgers, the Philadelphia Phillies. How lackadaisical were they throughout this season? This is a team that had the best record in baseball for 2.5 months, and then all of a sudden fell off because everybody was saying that Trey Turner and Bryce Harper weren't getting along in the locker room. But nobody was talking about that after they got eliminated by the Mets. Another team that just took off in the second half. It's so ridiculous. And by the way, I'm going to take shots at Braun because I didn't do it yesterday. For Braun to come out and say that if the Mets played the Yankees, they would have beaten the Yankees. That is absolutely laughable. Okay. I am so tired of hearing Met fans say that because they won one more game than the Yankees against the Dodgers, the Mets would have been a better fit and if the Mets played the Yankees, they would have crushed the Yankees. That is a ridiculous statement. And it's all about matchups, one. And number two, as good as the Mets were up and down through the last 2 months of the season, because they were, who's to say that the Mets would have went against the Yankees and played against the Yankees and Lindor wasn't going to fall in a slump? Or any of these guys, or any one of these big Mark Vientos fall into a slump, OMG, whatever. To say that because they had one more win than the Yankees could have won 3 games against the Dodgers if they didn't, fall into a bad situation. So I think it's so funny when everybody says, well, especially Braun. Braun, you're absolutely wrong. If you were to ask me right now, and this is not coming, I'm not a Met fan. If the Mets play the Yankees in the World Series, the Yankees win in 6 games. The Yankees are a better team. They had a better pitching staff. They're a better team. I mean, Jabba, am I wrong about this? I mean, if you look at it on the rosters, who do you think wins that series if they played the Yankees?
Oh, man. I think with the way, obviously, if you just go in blind and not see the results of what happened in the series, I think it would have been the Yankees. Just the way the bullpen had been pitching and obviously the way they can change the game. Obviously they had some guys step up that weren't big parts of basically their season, but stepped up at the right time, which, like we've talked about, you need those guys. So I still would have picked the Yankees in probably 5 or 6, just because I think the starting pitching on the Yankees side would have, like I said, go in hindsight 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It was deeper. Obviously, we can change the game with, 4 bats. And the way Glaber was going, I don't think the Mets would have stood a chance.
And by the way, just so everybody knows, because everybody loves Lindor, and he had some big hits in the playoffs. Throughout the playoffs, he was hitting like 225. Is that good? Everybody wants to sit here and say that Francisco Lindor was fantastic. Yeah, he had some big hits. That grand slam that knocked the Phillies out, fantastic. It was great. What he did throughout the playoffs, he made some big hits. We know who the leader is. We saw what he did in the second half. Was he MVP? No, he's not better than Ohtani. For anybody to sit here and say that Francisco Lindor had a great playoffs. Mark Vientos had a great playoff. That guy was hitting close to 400. This is a young kid that went up to bat and was hitting in big spots. He had a grand slam. This guy stepped up to the plate, and this guy comes from nothing. Seriously. So, that was impressive more than the whole Lindor thing, but Lindor's the star. He's making $300 million, so he's going to get the pat on the back. But I think Vientos was the Mets' best player. So I agree with you, Joppa. I think 5 or 6 games, the Yankees win. And again, this goes back to Kelly opening his big mouth saying that there were 8 teams better than them. You're going to tell me that the Yankees were the 8th best team in the playoffs? They were the best team in the American League. To sit here and mock them, it's horrible. It's to sit here and listen. I'm not saying the Yankees should have and could have won the World Series, which they had chances to really get in front of the Dodgers. But to say that they were lazy and lackadaisical and they didn't deserve to be there, who deserved to be there in the American League? Who? Give me one. Give me one. The Baltimore Orioles? Don't give me they had all these injuries. Injuries happen in baseball. It happens. This happens. You think the Yankees were sitting here after they lost Jonathan Loáisiga in the beginning of the season, their best bullpen option? They were going to sit there and say, oh, the season's over. We just lost our best relief pitcher. Are you kidding? How about Garrett Cole not coming back until what? the second or the third month of the baseball season and wasn't at the top of his game until what? A month left of the season? Are you going to sit here and tell me, oh, the Yankees were crying about that? It's sports. 162 games is grueling. I didn't play 162 games. I know Jabba has. It's a grueling time, especially in the heat and at the tail end of the season when it gets cold out. So it's such a ridiculous statement for anybody that doesn't know baseball, Stephen A. Smith, to come out and just throw the Yankees under the bus and agree with everything that he hears from Joe Kelly. When Joe Kelly, him and his glasses, he could take those glasses and shove it up his ass. I'm so tired of listening to that guy. I never liked him. I would love to get him on the show. I think he'd hang up 1, 2, 3. You know, Jabba, we should really try to get Joe, make it seem like we're going to be nice to him and just drop the hammer on him. That would be must watch, must listen to. Us sitting there and just saying, yeah, Joe, yeah, by the way, Joe, I've got something to ask you. And then just start yelling at him, saying you're a jackass. And no wonder why you're doing a podcast, because your career is practically over and you got a thumb up your ass because the Yankees never brought you to the organization.
Yeah, I mean, Cash did kind of, and we touched on it too, where you even said it, I believe, is like, I don't think you said it verbatim or personal, but it was like, oh, it's because we didn't offer him or he didn't come over here or whatever. So, and then Cash saying it was personal. It would be interesting. I mean, obviously I can make some phone calls. That's pretty easy. I mean, I don't necessarily we go straight for the jugular at the beginning. I would like to know.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'll be nice until the end. That's by the way.
Just to see like where he literally is, and he's going to bring up metrics. He's going to bring up that, and he's going to bring up whatever. But okay, yeah, you can talk about it when nobody's challenging you. But what about when you get challenged and see where it goes from there? And then we can go about it that way. But yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Oh, it'll be funny. Oh, I would be nice in the beginning until the tail end. And I say, by the way, and then I'm just going to let him have it. I'm going to say, your butt hurt. That's the facts here. You love the Dodgers. Good. You can go and kiss their asses. But to attack the Yankees and say the things that you say it's shameful, by the way. Oh, Speedy, I like that. Look at you. You're Gronk for the day. You like that?
I don't know.
Gronk's got big balls,
Congratulations.
Do you have big balls?
He has something else that's gigantic.
Oh, Jabba's autograph on his ass.
We should get him on the show.
Wait a second. I don't have a woman's ass. Wait a second, Fish.
We need to get Gronk on the show.
Here? What are you trying to say? I did, I do have a freshly shaved ass, Speedy. You want to see? What do you think it looks like?
I don't care.
All right, who do we have on the phone before we have one more?
Jeff, you have 5 minutes.
Jeff, what's up?
I think you're concentrating on all the wrong things that Joe Kelly said, right? Like, because his main point was, if you just go position by position, the Dodgers were just a superior team, right? Like, you're not going to be able to convince, like, okay, Soto's just as good as anyone, and Judge, for the most part, he didn't have as good series, but he's just as good as anyone as well. But if you go position by position, like, Will Smith is a better player than Austin Wells, right? Like, like the Dodgers were a better team, and that's what he was saying. Like, we're a better team.
We weren't disagreeing with that. The only thing we were saying was, you're telling me that there was 8 teams better. We said they were the better team. We agreed that they should have won. We weren't arguing that fact. What we were arguing is the fact that he said there was 8 teams better. No chance.
Yeah, I mean, probably not. It's a little bold, but also, the Yankees weren't any good. Like, they just weren't any good. And look, I'm the biggest critic of Garrett Cole. Errol will tell you, I shit all over Garrett Cole. I think he sucks. But he deserved better in game. Was it game 5?
Game 5.
Was that? Yeah, game 5, right? He deserved better. If it wasn't for Aaron Judge absolutely sucking cock in center field and dropping that ball, they never score 5 runs, and they probably don't lose that game. That whole inning is Aaron Judge's fault.
I think you're right. It was Aaron Judge's fault. There were other mistakes. I mean, they had a chance to get
but
back
those
into the game.
mistakes don't- but you don't get to those mistakes without the Aaron Judge mistake, right? Because okay, maybe Garrett Cole should have covered first. That play never happens. That play never happens. Aaron Judge catches that ball.
Weaver balking in the 8th inning. I mean, that was a big run. He balked. It drove a guy to second base, and it was the game-winning run in the game.
Interference, too.
Yeah, and catcher interference by Wells. That was a big play in the game that you watched. The Yankees made a lot of mistakes. They did.
They did. But I'm just a person that believes in momentum, and that momentum never happens, and none of that ever happened. They don't score a single run in that 5th inning, let alone 5 runs.
I agree with you.
If it weren't for Aaron Judge.
I agree with you. But here's the thing. He struck out Ohtani. Garrett Cole struck out Ohtani. It was 2 outs, bases loaded, and all he had to do was run to first base, and he stopped. Made no sense.
But it's not that. But
inning would have been over.
But it's not even that. That play, you never even get to that play. You never even have the play at third, right? If Aaron Judge just catches the ball.
But that's baseball, Jeff. Mistakes happen. It's baseball. I mean, the lights are bright, and you make mistakes.
And he had 0 errors all year. That was his first one.
For Aaron Judge, because in the big moments, he comes up.
Go ahead, Java. I know you had something to say. God.
No, I'm just saying, like it gets heightened because it was in one of the biggest moments. But look back and say he sucked, or what? He had 0 errors all year, and he's making plays. Like, it just sucked. It was at one of the worst moments that he could have it at, and they say hitting's contagious. So is the energy where, oh, our guy just dropped a ball. He hasn't dropped a ball all year. Then Volpe making the play, which I watched Derek do this for years. Every time there'd be a runner on second, he would look who's ever playing third, and he'd be like, hey, if the ball takes me to my backhand side, I'm coming to third. And that's the right play. He just threw a lawn dart, and it's just contagious, and then Cole not covering. But you're right. He doesn't get into that situation if those plays are made. And so I agree with you on that. But it's an
accumulation of the big moments for Aaron Judge. His first 5 at-bats in the series with runners on base. Do you know what his first 5 at-bats with runners on base were? Strikeout, strikeout, pop out, strikeout, strikeout. So it's not just one play in center. When the lights came on and he had a chance to impact his team, he came up smaller than ever.
Yeah, I mean, numbers don't lie. I get it. I understand exactly what you're saying. And then we all watched it, and it sucks that it gets heightened at that point just because it is the biggest time. And obviously you get there and that's what happens. But it's you can't blame it on one person. That's for damn sure.
Okay, and you were speaking about an MVP, and you keep talking about Ohtani. Ohtani was 1 for 11. Ohtani, the great Ohtani.
Ohtani played with a separated shoulder.
Okay.
You know what Judge was
How do we know
separated
what?
from?
Aaron Jones' toe wasn't 100% healthy all season.
No,
yeah,
that wasn't the separation. You know what the separation was for Aaron Judge? He didn't have a heart.
He is not, first of all, he is not a center fielder, and he took responsibility to play center field.
He played center field all
season.
year.
Yeah, had no mistakes, and no mistakes out there. Saying that for a guy that is not a center fielder, he's a right fielder, says a lot about his leadership and what they believe he can do.
He's still an outfielder. I get it's a shift in position slightly.
6'7", 280.
282.
There's tons of outfielders that play multiple positions.
Jeff, this guy's a big man. He played 150 something games in the outfield. Ohtani didn't play in the outfield at all. At all.
Right, but he also played in the World Series with a separated shoulder and still had a bigger impact on the games than Aaron Judge did.
So Aaron Judge all season played with a hurt toe, with which he said it was 80%, never made any excuses, still played in center field, one of the hardest positions to play, and had no errors because he made one mistake in the World Series. It's his fault.
It still doesn't change the fact when the lights came on, he came up smallest.
And so did Ohtani. He was 1 for 11. Yeah. So did Ohtani.
Sure, yeah, but he also played with a separated shoulder. That's hard.
Okay, so wait a second. Again, going back to it, separated shoulder, hurt toe all season playing in the outfield. I think that's more impressive, not having any errors, playing in the outfield with a hurt foot. and
Right,
made
but
no
when
mistakes.
the lights came on, it doesn't change the fact when the lights came on.
Yeah, he didn't hit in the playoffs. He's going to be pointed. There are going to be fingers pointed at him. Alex Rodriguez didn't hit in the playoffs until 2009 and helped the Yankees win a World Series. Yes, it does. Yes, he does. Yes, it does. You're talking about the best player in the league. Alex Rodriguez was the best player in the league for what? He won 2 MVPs with the Yankees and never did well in the playoffs. Yes, it does. Aaron Judge has 2 MVPs going into this year.
He wasn't even in the series. How are you going to blame a dude that wasn't even in the series?
What are you talking about? Wasn't in the series.
Alex Rodriguez didn't play in this series.
No, he played in 2000. He played in 2008. He played in 2007. He played in all those.
Right, but we're talking about Joe Kelly's comments. Now go position by position. Who's a better first baseman, Freddie Freeman or Anthony Rizzo?
Oh, Freddie Freeman.
Right, who's a better catcher, Will Smith or Austin Wells?
Actually, defensively, I would say Austin Wells. Defensively, Austin Wells.
If you go position by position, I guarantee you 6 out of the 9 positions that you're going to come up with, the better player is going to be the Dodger.
Okay, second base. Who's playing second base for the Dodgers?
Was it Paz? Was Paz?
No, he was an outfielder. It's either Hernandez or Edman. It was a rotation.
Okay, they're not better than Gleyber. They're not better than Gleyber Torres. Well, I wasn't better than Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres was great in the playoffs.
Tommy Edman was unreal in the playoffs.
Well, isn't Edman the shortstop on the team?
He sometimes played shortstop. Sometimes he played second.
Okay.
And
he played shortstop all World Series.
Yeah, all World Series. He was the shortstop. And I know because I watched him. So if you want to compare him to Volpe, yeah, Edman was better. There was no question. And third baseman, Muncy, right? Muncy was the third baseman. You want to say Muncy's better than Chisholm? Well, I'm not a big Chizzy fan. But as far as I'm concerned in the outfield, I'm going to take Judge over any one of they got, and I'll take Soto over any one of their got. Even Mookie Betts, as great as Mookie Betts is, I'm going to take...
Mookie Betts was terrific.
I like
Even
Mookie
had
Betts.
to fight off those mouth-breathing fans in right field. What a play by Mookie. What is it about Mookie Betts, just as a sidebar, that dude plays above the wall?
Because he talks a lot of crap in the outfield. You know he does.
No,
he does.
He plays above. No. The talking crap doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he makes plays in the stands. Go back to when he was with the Red Sox. The play in the stands with Houston and the fans. That play, like, he's constantly playing above the wall. And for a guy that's, I don't know, a Keebler elf, that's pretty impressive.
First of all, and Jabba could tell you, if you're a player that's going to be talking to the fans all game long, what do you think the fans are going to say back to you? Especially Yankee fans and Boston Red Sox fans? Ask CC Sabathia what Boston fans have said. Okay, I know Jabba knows what they're saying to him when he was on the mound. Okay, every fan has a nasty person or nasty people out there. It's not just the Yankees. So you sit there and you're going to point fingers. But when you're out there, I'm going to tell you this. I went to a Dodger game. I also went to a Red Sox game. And when Mookie Betts was out there in the outfield, he loves to talk crap. Loves it. Juan Soto.
Yeah, that can be.
Juan Soto's quiet.
Right, but that can be fun when the players engage with the fans a little bit. Like there's a little bit that can be fun. But when they're getting assaulted,
I agree with you.
Yankees fans,
I agree with you.
One player.
I agree with you.
Goes too far.
I agree with you. I stuck up for Mookie Betts. I think that those Yankee fans should not be able to go back to Yankee Stadium next year. Even Jabba agrees to it. What they did was wrong. You put a player of that magnitude, that superstar player, they could have lost him. If they lost him and the Yankees won, that's the finger pointing that you would have heard from different analysts and different people. You don't want to see one of the best players in the league go down because a fan's an idiot. I agree with you with that.
I mean, it happens everywhere. It just happens more in Yankee Stadium.
Oh, stop.
That's just the fact. I mean, how many other times have you seen beer bottles thrown at players like the Yankees did against the Guardians? How many other times have you seen a baseball thrown at a player, like when the Yankees fans hit Alex Verdugo with the baseball? Like, it happens all of it. It's pretty regular there. The fans are proud of it. Like, that dude made media rounds being like, we gee up our stadium. Like, you guys are retards. Like, what is wrong with you?
Go ahead, Jabba. I'll let you finish up. And then, Jeff, we really appreciate the call. Go ahead, Jabba. Why don't you express your feelings to what he just said?
No, I agree. It's you don't.
Agree? Perfect.
Oh, hold on. Let me finish. Just hold your horses. Yeah, you don't attack a player. Like, if he comes into the stands, whatever, you don't attack him. 100% agree. It's stupid. I mean, in the comments he said were even more ignorant. Like, oh, we talked about this. We planned this. If it's going to happen, we play D. We protect our field. Whatever. Blah blah blah. Shut up. Like, I don't care what you did. I don't care. But for you to go and say it happens more at Yankee Stadium, no, it doesn't. It happens everywhere. You just don't hear about it because the teams that it's happening to aren't the New York Yankees. You just hear about it. I've had more stuff happen to me in Toronto, in Boston, and I wasn't even with the Yankees at the time. You just don't hear about it because it's not the New York Yankees. I've had stuff thrown at me in Cleveland, and I ended up playing there. It happens everywhere.
It's a trash town anyways. We all agree on that.
Hey, it's a sneaky good town in more ways than one, but you obviously...
It's a sneaky good town. They had a body of water kept on fire. It's a dump.
Well, you're looking at the wrong stuff. I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying sneaky in the other ways. But it happens. It happens everywhere.
Java because sneakily, a couple of times I found myself standing next to Java a few times here at the Blue Martini in Tampa. So,
oh, better believe it.
Java's kind of fun.
The good old International Plaza, baby.
You know it, brother. You know it.
It's not there anymore. It's something else.
Yeah, it's a Rocco's Tacos, which by the way is just low grade dog food.
I heard it wasn't very good. I probably ran into some other adult establishments too, I would assume.
Yeah, like, look, man, I've been to Odyssey 2001, the Dollhouse Scores, all of that sort of stuff. But I used to run with, and I'm sure that you know Anthony Davis from the Buccaneers. That's like one of my buddies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
We used to be there all the time.
I appreciate it. Great input too, by the way.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for calling, bud.
All right, Yankees still suck.
Eat it.
That's Jeff, ladies and gentlemen. As always, fantastic. He is a good call. He is, and when he doesn't attack and start calling people names like the complete idiot he is sometimes, but sometimes I hope he just goes into his little piss pot of a pool and drowns in the middle of it. But nevertheless, I like Jeff. I personally do respect who he is. And by the way, Fish, I love that. Bye.
That was great.
That's a good one. That's really good. Shedeur, this is the last story, by the way, and we'll go quickly. We'll give you our, we're not going to give you our thoughts. We'll give you what we think is going to happen in football, all of us, including you, Scoops. So get ready. We're going to go through the games quick. We're going to give you our thoughts, and then we're done. Shedeur Sanders posted a video yesterday that took shots at Colorado coaches, reminding everybody to register for classes. Shedeur tweeted why he would register for classes when he is clearly going to the NFL. Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio reports that there are still certain teams Shedeur would go back to school to avoid playing for, and lists the Panthers and the Jets as two of those teams. Shedeur said he can survive financially on NIL money, even if he stays in school for another year, but would have registered for classes to keep playing. Shedeur has 2,591 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 73.3% completion percentage in 8 games this season. In the first college football playoff ranking, Colorado was ranked 20th with a 6-2 record. First of all, I don't want you, buddy. I don't want you. I do not want you getting anywhere close to my team with the last name Sanders, okay? I don't want your craziness. I don't want to hear your father yapping when he's not there. I don't want anything to do with you. So stay away from the Jets. As far as the Panthers are concerned, they don't want you either, okay? So I don't know why you keep saying, well, you don't want to go here and you want to go there. Nobody gives a crap what you want. I think you're a highly overrated quarterback. Okay, you've played nobody this year. You're 6-2. Okay, let's see when you play a top 15 team. Let's see you play against the top 5 team and put up the numbers you're putting up right now. You are an absolute jackass. Okay, that's what I think you are. And your father and all you guys, you yap. You and your brother think that you're something special. Got news for you, buddy. Take your NIL deals and shove it up your ass. Okay, As far as I'm concerned, you don't need the NIL deals because daddy pays for everything, okay? And as far as your dad's concerned, well, when your father goes out there and tells your brother after beating up a security guard and putting the guy in a wheelchair and barely could walk straight and can't even get a job and tells him to claim bankruptcy so you don't have to pay him, it shows you the true class of the Sanders family. Okay, there is no class for this family. There's no class for the Colorado team. There's no class for anything that's come out of their mouth over the last couple of months. Okay, the only thing I could say, and I don't care what Mike Florio says, I don't care what any of these analysts say. If anybody is going to take this guy on, and I'm just going to speak the truth, whoever decides to take this idiot on, good riddance to your organization. You are going to be dealing with bull crap for a very long time. This guy is a failure. He is not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. He is a bust, all right? And you can book that. I've been wrong about things, but I've also been right about things. Take this. He is an overrated quarterback. He is the Zach Wilson, okay? Zach Wilson of this year's quarterback play. Zach Wilson, who puts up great numbers, go look at who he played. He played nobody. Go look at Shedeur Sanders. Zach Wilson played against better talent in BYU than Shedeur Sanders has. Go look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. And I'm not just speaking out of my ass. The only thing that's speaking out of your ass is the people that respect or think they respect you. For all those analysts, Stephen A. Smith that thinks you're good, or Kendrick Perkins. What the hell is Kendrick Perkins knows? He knows basketball. Take your beard and shove it up his ass, okay? I am done. I am done listening to this guy. I'm done with that family. Let Shedeur Sanders go to the NFL as the number one prospect quarterback. Whoever decides to take him, good riddance, because your team in 5 years is going to wish you never drafted him.
Yeah, I was talking about it with a while back where I like a lot of his traits in his physical game, but Wes was saying it earlier, like his game has risen a lot starting in conference play, and the Big 12 has been a good conference this year, but he's not like a powerhouse. And again, I think this is just another, maybe a smaller example, but another example of him saying things he doesn't have to say. Like, okay, we understand that you're going to enter the draft. You're not going to have to register for classes. There's no reason to post a video. There's no reason to make it a distraction and take shots at your coaches like that. It's just unnecessary. And then you're throwing your lineman under the bus like 2 months ago. You're throwing your offensive coordinator under the bus. You're having all these other guys speak about you in the transfer portal. Like, it's just unnecessary type thing. So the baggage that'll come with that, as good of a prospect as he might be, and I think he has played well this year, and his traits are probably the best among any quarterback in this class. There's going to be a lot of
saying much.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of baggage where it's not going to be worth it.
No, Speedy, I literally, like, I was going to use that same word. I go, with what you get is what you receive, and that's baggage, because you're getting them all. You're getting every single one of them. Obviously, his dad's going to play a huge part, and I respect Dion for what he did, as a player and, the things that he accomplished. But now it's becoming, and I loved what Jason Michael said. It's like, it's becoming you're branding yourself. Like, you're posting a video, like, be humble about it. Like, obviously I don't think that's in their vocabulary, but like, when you say it and then post it, and as they're saying it, like, pause. And then as you put your hand up and it's like, well, I'm going to the NFL draft. Well, now you come back and say, well, if I get drafted by this team, and we've seen it happen before, obviously with Eli, where deals can be done. But to basically shit on your teammates and be like, I'm better. Like, that's what he's saying. I'm better than you. And has he had a good year? Yeah. Is he physically going to succeed? Who knows? But just his traits, like Petey said, it's like, yeah, I get it. But at the same time, go about it the right way. Be humble. Because that's part of what it is. Obviously, when he goes through the combine or whatever, he probably won't do it because he thinks he's too good anyways, where they look at part of that as somebody that you want to build your organization around. And you're going to have to deal with so much other stuff. They have a film crew that follows him around. Like, Be a college kid. Like, he's not even a college kid. Like, he's out there for his brand and to make the money. We know you make a buttload of NIL money, but just be humble and go about your business and do what you got to do. And then, a lot of people aren't going to take a second look, but Speedy, you said it the best. It's is he had the physical traits and has shown what he's done, but there's going to be some baggage you got to deal with. And is it worth it? Is the pros and cons worth it? I don't know. I'm not a GM or owner of a team. I wouldn't take him, but that's just me.
Guys, you watch the highlights of him, and you don't see a ton of NFL-type throws that would work in the NFL. He underthrows guys. He's a little wide. He also has by far the best receiver in this year's draft. He may be a top 3 pick. He's probably going to be number 1 on everyone's big board, but probably won't go number 1 and probably be a quarterback. If it's Shedeur over Travis Hunter, I have no idea what that team is thinking, because Travis Hunter is what makes Shedeur look as good as he does. And that's what I see. I see a unbelievable talent at wide receiver and corner, by the way, playing just a whole nother level compared to his competition. He's underthrowing deep balls that would get picked off very easily in the NFL. And you have Hunter just coming back making contested plays. That's what's going on. He holds on to the ball for a very long time because you have more time if you have inferior opponents. And that's what they have. And look, power to Dion for building up the depth of that roster, because they really didn't have it the last year. He had the record number of transfer people, and that team is competent this year. Are they a top 25 team? Probably not. But look, they're competent. Does that give you confidence that Shedeur Sanders is going to lead a program? Well, I wouldn't want to take him either, Errol. Like you said it too, Jabba. Humility is not part of his game. He has no humility, and there's nothing that brings more humility than NFL defenses and defensive coordinators. Look, they're going to know what he doesn't do well and force him to do that. And if he's not accurate on his deeper passes, he's going to be out of the league quick. And that's just a humbling thing that sometimes kids need to learn by experience. And he's just had this very unique life, I guess is the nice way to put it, where he's been on camera. He has all this money. He's playing well on a D1 program, but it's nothing that should make you scream like, oh, this guy's the next big thing. And he carries himself that way, which I guess is good that you have that confidence in yourself, but you also want to have that self-awareness, and he just doesn't have it, Errol.
Oh, I'm going to tell you this right now. His confidence is going to get him killed in the NFL. I'm telling you right now, if you're going to go out there in a locker room and you're going to be talking crap before you even step on an NFL field, and I'm going to tell you this right now, NFL players do not like cocky SOBs. You have to be humble, especially as a rookie. When you're already telling everybody that you don't need to go to classes because you're going to be a top first-round draft pick. And here's the list right now. NFL Tankathon for 2025. Number 1 right now is New England. Jacksonville, number 2. Both teams have quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence is going nowhere because he just signed a contract. The Saints, interesting, even though they went after Rattler. I don't know if they go that route right now. I think they might put a hold on it. Carolina is definitely not. Cleveland is interesting. Now, if he goes to the depth of Cleveland, okay, that's a joke. Now, we've seen quarterbacks get drafted. They decided to part ways with Baker. Baker's in Tampa, and he's loving it because he's away from that crappy organization. So that would be a place. Vegas, 100%. Vegas will love that. And Vegas, let's go look at the quarterback plays and the quarterbacks that were drafted over there over the years. See how much they failed over there. And then there's the Giants. Now, that is interesting. And I could see the Giants doing something like that because it's the Giants. So, and I don't think it's crazy to think, and I'll say this again, I don't think it's crazy to think if Tennessee's going to try to trade up and get to that position where they can get Shedeur too. So, but the team that I think is going to have the best chance to get him is Cleveland. So if you want to go to Cleveland and you would rather go to Cleveland than Jets or Carolina, by all means, go. I don't care. You're going to fail there because Cleveland is an organization that quarterbacks disappear. So good luck to you, Shedeur. And by the way, Cleveland fans, they can't stand cocky quarterbacks. Ask Baker. So I'm just, Baker's right there enjoying smiles, all smiles. I am so happy for Baker Mayfield. I love Baker. I love his personality. I love everything about him. I always loved him when he played for Oklahoma, pulling out that flag and sticking it out when he won. And he pretty much showed off the fans, running naked, and doing whatever the hell he was doing all over the campus. Baker's an interesting personality. Baker is not as cocky as your ass, going out there and thinking that you're better than sliced bread. Baker wasn't even supposed to be the number one pick. He wasn't even supposed to be a first-round pick, and he was the number one pick. And he's proving why the Cleveland Browns decided to draft him at number one. But nevertheless, honestly, if you were to ask me right now at the quarterback play and what Baker's doing this year, if Baker keeps playing like this, you talk about Lamar Jackson, you talk about Josh Allen, and you talk about Baker Mayfield. That's arguably the best quarterback class since 2004 with Eli, Roethlisberger, Rivers, and then obviously Romo, who wasn't drafted. I mean, think about it. We're trying to compare draft classes. That's the best draft class. So that's just my opinion. I mean, these guys are fantastic. All three of them are playing fantastic football. They're all really, really good quarterbacks. So I'm loving what I see. But now that's my opinion to that. You guys ready? We're going to go quickly through the NFL, what is this, week 10?
10, yeah.
Week 10. Quickly, we're going to go and we're going to keep tabs on it starting week 10. Who's making the right picks here? And we're going to do over-unders. Ready, Speedy, you ready for that? Okay. We'll do over-unders.
All right, so we'll start with Thursday Night Football, the Bengals and the Ravens. The over-under is 53.5. Bengals and the Ravens, 53.5. I'm going to go Bengals on the over.
All right, Jabba.
53.5. I'm going to go Bengals on the under.
Fish.
Bengals over. Big shootout.
Scoops, who do you got?
I'm with Fish on this one. I'm going with the Bengals on the over.
I got Baltimore on the under.
All right, Giants and Panthers in Germany, 40.5. I'm going to go Giants under.
Ooh. Giants under. I'm going to go Giants over.
I'm going Giants under. This is going to be like one of the worst games ever, but the Giants are better than Panthers. Please tell me they're better than the Panthers.
Fish took the words out of my mouth. This is going to be a horrible game, but I got the Giants on the under.
I got the Giants on the under.
All right, Broncos, Chiefs over under 42.5. Give me Kansas City over.
Kansas City over.
I like Kansas City on the under. I think they're going to shut them out.
I'm going to go Chiefs on the over.
Kansas City on the over.
All right, the Steelers and the Commanders, 45.5. Give me Washington in this game on the over.
You said 45.5?
Yep.
Oh, man. Latimer's playing, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, give me Commanders under.
Yeah, I'm going to go over, and I'm going to go Steelers. I think they're going to throw some stuff at Daniels he hasn't seen yet.
Give me the Daniels. Give me the Commanders on the under.
I got the Steelers on the over.
All right, Vikings, Jaguars, 45.5. Give me Minnesota under.
I'm with you on that one, Fish. Minnesota under. Or no, Speedy, my bad.
Yeah, well, that makes three of us, though. Minnesota under. That team isn't as good as Minnesota. No way. Not that defense.
What is the number?
45.5.
Well, then that makes four of us. I'm going to go on the under with the Vikings.
I got Minnesota on the over.
All right.
I think they're going to put up some big numbers in this game.
Falcons, Saints over under 46.5. Give me Atlanta under.
46.5. Oh. Atlanta under.
I think it's going to be Atlanta again. I think it's going to be really close to that number, but we'll go under.
I think it's going to be the Falcons on the over.
Falcons on the under.
49ers at the Buccaneers, 50.5. I'm going to go Tampa on the under.
Oh. I'm going to go Niners on the over.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jabba. Christian McCaffrey's back. Let's see what happens. I'm pretty excited to see it. I'm sure 49ers fans are too. Niners on the over.
I'm going to go with Tampa. Give me the Buccaneers on the under.
I want to pick Baker, but I think Christian McCaffrey's going to cause a lot of miscomprehension things on the football. That's not even the best word. There's going to be a lot of mishaps. Give me the 49ers on the over.
All right, Bills, Colts, 47.5. Give me Buffalo on the under.
Where's it at?
Indy.
Yep.
Oh, Bills on the over.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game, and I think the Bills are going to take it to them. Same, Bills over.
I'm going to do Bills under.
I'm going to go. I like to go crazy. The Colts need this game. They really, really need this game. So I am going to take the Colts on the under.
All right. Patriots and the Bears, 38.5. I'm going to go crazy here. I'm taking New England. I think this is a wake-up call for Chicago. They stink. Give me New England under.
Oh, Drake May, huh? Here we go. Golly, it's in Chicago, I believe. New England under.
I don't see Drake May traveling into Chicago and doing anything. This is definitely an under game, and I'm going with the Bears.
Yeah, the Patriots, they suck. I'm going with the Bears on the under.
Bears on the under.
All right, Titans, Chargers. I agree with Chaz. 38.5 will give me Chargers. I'll go in the over.
Taking the same thing. I listened to them. I was taking notes as they were doing it.
They're good. Yeah, you'll win some money.
Chargers over makes a lot of sense to me, boys.
Yeah, I'll do the Chargers on the over.
Chargers on the over.
All right, Eagles, Cowboys.
40. By the way, Justin Herbert, 300 yards in that game.
Eagles, Cowboys, over under 43.5. I think the Eagles, I think this is an over by a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Eagles on the over.
Saquon's going to run for like 200 yards. Give me Eagles in the over.
Eagles on the over. Blowout.
This is a blowout. Dak Prescott could be out for the rest of the season. I think the Cowboys are destined to probably try to shoot for Shedeur. I'm going to call it. You know how they like? It's my saying is shoot for Shedeur. So there you go. I've got Eagles. I got the Eagles on the over.
All right, Jets at the Cardinals, 46.5. I agree with Wes. I like Arizona, the matchup here. Give me Arizona on the over.
I'd like the matchup, but I'm going to go against. I'm going to take Arizona on the under.
Kyler Murray against good defenses doesn't always end up well for Kyler Murray because he's too busy playing Call of Duty instead of studying what he's supposed to study. So I'm going with the Jets, and I'm going with the under.
I'm going with the Cardinals on the under on this one.
I'm going to go with the Jets because I'm going to take what Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers has said. They think that they got to prove everybody wrong. So, or prove everybody, well, they prove themselves right and prove everybody wrong. So I'm going to go with the Jets on the under.
All right, Sunday Night Football, Lions and the Texans, 48.5. I think the Lions win. I think this is a blowout on the over.
What was it at again?
48.5.
And who'd you take, Speedy?
I took the Lions on the over in a blowout.
Oh, 58. I mean, they can score. Their offense has been efficient. I have to agree with you. Lions on the over.
Lions over.
Lions over.
Yeah, it's definitely Lions. And I'll take them on the over.
All right, Monday Night Football, the Dolphins at the Rams, 50.5 the over-under. I think this is closer than people think, but give me the Rams on the over.
I think it'll be a better game than people think, but I'm taking Rams on the over as well.
Don't sleep on that Rams defense. I'm going to take Rams under.
I'm going to do Rams over.
The Rams are going to ram them. Speedy likes to get rammed, right? Pain! I got the Rams on the over. And by the way, this is a blowout. Okay, just so you know. So that's what I think. I think the Rams with Nakua back, and you can shut the music, Speedy.
I shut the music.
All right, whatever. I got Nakua. I think he'll play even harder. I think he puts up 100 spot. I think Cooper Kupp will put up 100 spot. I think this is going to be an all-out, just.
If Puka doesn't throw a punch this game, I started him over in Jigba, my league.
Puka punch. The Puka punch.
Punch.
The Puka punch.
Yeah, Fish. I said the same thing. I know.
Poo,
over in Jigba.
Speedy, do that. Poo, poo, poo. Do that. Do that one time. Just poo, 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 poo. You got to do this. Poo. There you go. Like you're taking a crap. Poo, Pain. Speedy, how did you like the show? Did you like the show?
Of course.
Were you happy?
Yeah.
Were you happy and you know it? You clap your hands?
I did clap my hands before.
Do you like to clap other things?
Cheeks.
Clap other things.
Thanks, Java.
Do you like cheeks? I like cheeks.
Good for you.
I kind of look like Marty Jannetty over there on the right side. Rockers, remember them? Shawn Michael and Marty Jannetty. Remember that? Speedy, you were too young for that. I think you.
I also don't know wrestling, so that doesn't help me.
Well, I don't know wrestling anymore, but that,
One of the most famous heel turns in wrestling history when he kicks him through the window.
That's right. I love it.
Technically, Fish, I was watching that. That's a Mandela effect. He didn't kick him through the windows. He kicked him and then threw him through the window.
Speedy, I got a good question. If there was a finisher, if you were a wrestler, what would be your finisher?
I have no idea. I don't know wrestling.
I'm just
like
pick
I
a
know
finisher.
wrestling.
You got to pick a finisher.
I don't know.
So what would you do?
Give me 5 names, and I'll pick one.
Ass cruncher.
Wait, Speedy. I got one good name. The pedigree.
Ass cruncher.
The pedigree. You like that one? No,
sure.
Pedigree. Ass cruncher.
No.
The ass cruncher.
No, you had your chance.
The ball tangler.
No, you had
The
your
ball
chance.
tangler.
It's Jabba's turn.
All right.
Let's go. I was trying to think of something with your.
Fish, you can go with Jay. Well,
Yeah, go Fish. I'm thinking all the ones that I could use something off of.
Go share a Poo-Tang pie with the Rock. Definitely not.
Man, I it's tough because you would have to come up with a nickname based around Speedy, but also have it be something that makes you larger than life, Speedy. So I would say it's all about the music that you want to enter the arena in to, and that really sets the tone. So I can't really answer that until you tell us, Speedy, what song is your entrance song?
I don't know about that. That is a good question. I don't know.
What song most represents you and your energy?
We didn't start the fire, but it has to be the one that Speedy sang that one time.
What about Pour Some Sugar on Me?
Oh, that works.
Ooh.
That'll plus. I'll take it. Hey.
Do you know the words to that one, Speedy?
Yeah. And Java, it was funny. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I went to see the Rock of Ages Broadway. They actually took shots at Def Leppard because they had the original Rock of Ages. It was actually pretty funny. I could roll with that.
Could you roll with that? I got a couple.
No, it's Java's turn.
But
you had your chance.
No, I got another one.
You had your chance.
I got a couple more.
So if your name is Pour Some Sugar, if the song is Pour Some Sugar Me, it would be like Speedy Sweet Pie would be like your wrestler name. And you'd come in. I think unfortunately you'd probably be a jobber wrestler.
Sweet pie.
Speedy.
You'd be the jobber that's standing in the ring
No.
going like this.
Sweet ass. Speedy's sweet ass.
Nope.
No.
It's
Sweet
Java's
Pea.
turn.
What was it? Sweet Pea from was it Popeye?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sweet Pea. Yes. Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to go Speedy Stinky Finger.
Oh, I like that one.
All right.
Oh, hold on. I got a couple more. Ball Tangler.
Oh, hold on. We have Owen from our private chat. Speedy Sugar Bomb. Actually,
Let
that
him
might
come-
be
let him
that.
come in. Let him
That
come
actually might be the winner so far.
What is it?
Speedy Sugar Bomb. That actually might be the winner.
That's
I
your
like that,
finishing
Owen.
move. It's a
That's
power
that's
bomb.
That's a good one. I'm going to give Owen the lead right
All right. Ball Tangler.
No.
Sack Buster.
Nope.
Pole Dropper.
Nope. You're done. Owen wins. Owen wins.
I'm going to go Sack Buster. I like that one.
I
Good for
wasn't
you.
pulling anything.
Do you know what a Sack Buster is?
No.
You want me to tell you how you do it?
No.
Here's what happens. Okay. He's laying flat, and you stand with your legs, spread apart, and he's just laying flat, and you just drop your balls on his face. What do you think?
Don't care.
What? That's a Sack Buster.
Nope. Sugar Bomb for the win. Owen is the winner.
We could have gone Speedy's Speed Bag.
Oh, I like this.
That would work more for boxing, not for wrestling.
No, your bag on his chin.
Oh, I like.
Thank you. I know that context. I figured that's what you were going for. I don't think it makes as much sense for wrestling. So, I mean, it's a good fourth or fifth on the list, but
Okay.
definitely still ahead of Motion Errol's.
I like the sack buster.
Okay, you use it.
How about the ball tangler? I like that.
Okay, you can use all yours for you.
You choke.
No.
You choke people with your ball sack. No, that's the ball tangler. Yes, there it is. Anyways, I tried to help, Speedy. I'm just trying to help you out here.
Yeah, I'm
They're a little lost today. I'm a little lost.
The last 5 minutes I have been.
Well, why are you lost for 5 minutes?
I'm doing for random wrestling names that are.
Well, what would you rather do?
I don't. Java was claiming he had to go to the bathroom, so it would be good to end the show.
All right, let's end the show. But I'm going to just say, I think the finger roll is something that we could use too with you. The finger roll.
Yeah, you're giving me too much credit as a basketball player.
No, I'm just saying that's a good finishing move. The finger roll. Anyways, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't have any guests, so we'll thank all of us for being on the show. Thank you for Owen giving us your wrestling move of the night. We appreciate him. Thank you to Jabba, as always. More of Jabba. And by the way, this is the last show of the Sports Loudmouth as we are rebranding ourselves next week. Our show will be Tuesday, not Monday, because Fish has something to do with fam. So we will be back Tuesday and Wednesday, back-to-back days. And the new show, Jabba in the Mouth. So, ladies and gentlemen, it will be their first episode of Jabba in the Mouth here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Very, very exciting moving forward. And you guys are going to see some new stuff that we're going to have posting up in the very near future. So we're very happy about that. We're working on Jerry Ferreira and many different other guests. So stay tuned as always. And thank you to all the fans out there on social media. Keep following us. Make sure that you don't look for anything big, especially Speedy's ball bag, but anything else, there could be an option. Anyways, that's it for our show. We will say goodnight, and we'll talk to you next week. Good night, everybody.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.